Okay, back in. As we're now continuing our adventure in Colorado with The Last of Us Part 2. As you know, this is, of course, a recording for continuing for recap. Let's see how we're doing. I'm trying to remember where we left off. Let's see, that's right. So I think it's the end of, I want to say, Chapter 2. Joel was just killed by Abby. I have to say, it's not necessarily the most shocking thing. Like I said before, Joel dying is something I kind of expected would either happen off screen, or if you kind of think back to some of the early marketing, I think they were kind of alluding that Joel was gonna. Like they said, this was a revenge story. When you show that, you know, it's obviously Ellie being angry, what could she possibly be mad about? Well, it's either she. I thought actually there was gonna be Ellie that had to have killed Joel or something like that. Like Ellie went bad, or somebody would have forced her to kill Joel, and so therefore it goes on revenge, or Joel would have died off screen. Well, I guess he kind of did die off screen. And so that's where that puts us. But we just had that scene where Joel was taken very early, I have to say. I wasn't expecting that quickly. I was either expecting they led that way where Joel's been dead. And Ellie was just making out with Dina. And so she just found out.
Joel! Tommy!
You think there'd be like emotional music or something playing? Alright, there is recording going on. Good. Alright. I know it's only been a few hours, but sometimes I forget the controls.
You're okay. You're okay. There it is. Joel? Tommy? Where is that coming from?
Not gonna lie, I actually find that kind of fascinating. It'd be funny if there was a buffalo versus bison poster. Let me know if, again, if the balance of the game is too loud, too soft, if I sound alright.
Joel. Shit. Fuck.
Can't break this glass. That's the strong glass. That's the plot armor grass. Grass. Look at these small little, like child-sized sleeping bags. Okay, let me stop right now and type a few things real fast. I just make sure. I actually didn't finish what I was writing before. Let's see. By panic. Escaping. You know, while I type, I'm actually genuinely curious if I almost, after I'm done with this, I almost want to watch somebody else's live reaction. Like, I'm a passionate guy about certain games, Last of Us not being one of them. So if there was supposed to be an impassioned reaction about, oh, you know, they killed Joel, how could they? I'm so upset about that. How could they do him dirty in like the second chapter of the game? You know, whatever. I mean, I kind of expected that would happen, that there was going to be retaliation against his actions, consequences. It's not unreasonable. It's not illogical. But I really want to know, it's like, man, is there a nice passionate person who can explain why that upsets them so much? I would like to see that. Not just somebody who's really mad and just being passionate about, oh, I hate this is terrible, how could they do the character wrong, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Tommy and him were on patrol. They saw somebody in trouble. They helped them. I don't think that's necessarily outside of Joel's wheelhouse. They were in a bad situation. I will say it is kind of weird. That when they were running away, Joel was, hey, I have a bunker, the whatever estate. We have people there in a perimeter. When they were escaping, yeah, it just happened. We took a break after it happened. Not because I was emotionally distraught, but because I was hungry and wanted to eat. I was like, huh, Joel just got beaned. I want to go eat lunch now. So that just happened. I'm writing down some notes, Serial Chiller. I was like, you know what? I could go for a sandwich. New Man, I don't know. We're kind of, I think, in the second chapter. I don't know if this game is bad. I will say this, though. This game is a very slow burn. The pacing is incredibly slow for the beginning. Because we played for about 3 hours and not much happened. So it's funny. I'm looking at how much I've written so far for just a recap of it. And it's not a lot. New Man, I can say this right now. In terms of story, not a lot has actually happened. It's very brief. It's mostly been character introduction, establishing the situation, establishing character shots, relationships, and then they almost want to start the story with this event. So it's not that this is something that happens later in the story. This is a direct consequence of the events that happen at the end of the game. In that faction, I can understand why they call it a part 2 and not The Last of Us 2. This is part 2. This is taking place right after, as if the first game just didn't stop. This is the next logical conclusion of what happens. You did an action, there's a retaliation, they found you, they hunted you down, they killed you like a dog. I get it. I'm actually not sure. Is it Minty, I'm guessing? That's why people hate on this game. We're finding out. I'm just playing the game so I can get the story. I like to play the big games of the year anyway, the moment they come out, for 2 reasons. Number 1, because I want to be abreast of the situation, and 2, I like to get the recording done, so that way if I put out a recap, I can. And I get the feeling, with how divisive the community is around this game alone, that there's probably going to be a demand for me doing a recap of this now versus, say, 6 months from now. So I'm thinking almost about doing, like, making a small break in my soft rule where, hey, I don't do a recap until 6 months later, where maybe I should probably do one now, because if people don't want it, you know, experienced the story, if they made a decision that they're not going to buy this game or support it because of what they've heard, but they're still genuinely curious about it, instead of watching another Let's Play or even watching the cinematics. I saw on my feed, just the cinematics alone in this game is 11 hours, so, yeah, whatever. Newman, I'm not afraid of getting blacklisted because I wasn't sent a review code for this game. I literally bought it with my own money. You can't stop me. So I'm not on anybody's payroll. You can't blacklist me if I'm not on your if you're not on my if you're not paying me. So nobody has any sway over me. So I can say whatever I want, and if I decide that I'm going to put a review out for my opinion on it, which I don't know, maybe I will. I don't know if I'm going to have anything interesting to say. Then we'll see. If there's something interesting that I want to say about it, then I'll say it. But that remains to be seen. I haven't determined if I'm going to put a review out. But I can tell you this. I'm not going to be afraid to show the entirety of its game. I will respect people's feelings about spoilers and say, hey, from this minute mark to this minute mark, I'm talking about the story and how well it was done, the strong parts and the weak parts. If you care about any spoilers, skip that part. For everything else, whatever, I don't care. I'll show beginning of the game stuff, end of the game stuff. It's a review. It's not a first impressions video. To me, you shouldn't do a review on just the first part of a game and just skip the rest of it because you're afraid of quote-unquote spoiling it. It's not a review. You can't critique part of the game. You need to critique the game in its entirety. But yeah, plan on putting a recapitation out. If anything, I might as well. I know I have a friend or two that did pay attention to the leaks, refuses to play this game, and wants me to do a recap on it. Well, I was going to do a recap for it anyway, but the matter is just when I was going to post it. Alright, we've explored pretty much everywhere I think we can explore, and there's not really much else. But yeah, like, this is pretty logical.
What's going on?
Let him go.
Who is that?
Let him
She
go.
snuck in.
Why aren't you posted up outside?
We didn't think anyone was gonna show up.
What the hell did you expect?
I mean, yeah.
We gotta get out of here before the whole town's on top of us. You're done.
You want what I want, right?
End it. Now.
Joel, get up. Joel, fucking get up. Please stop. Please don't shoot. Joel, please get up. No!
I'm surprised they didn't show it. They kind of loosely showed it. They didn't actually show it. And then, like, he puts a couple bullets in him, and then they light him on fire. Just really drive it out. So I guess this is where the game begins now. Alright. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Revenge was gonna come and get him. Hasn't exactly been a good guy. So him being hunted down and killed for it doesn't surprise me. I mean, people hunted down and tried to kill them before, so hardly new. It's either bait or it's a flashback. I remember the scene when they first showed, like, the second trailer, The Last of Us Part 2, and it has Joel coming out saying, "You thought I was going to let you do this alone?" That's either a flashback or there was a false scene for misdirection.
Jesse, they're down here.
The last game from us. That's a good one, actually. All right, let's write down, because obviously that was a plot relevant scene. Let's take some notes. If you didn't catch the first part of this, I'm doing the active recap skeleton kind of as a behind the scenes look of here's how I play the game while also writing the recap at the same time. And it's going to be a little bit different from a normal play because there are many times where I just stop and just have to type down notes, write down a skeleton, and quickly keep the story going. Alright, so Ellie is obviously sad.
Hey,
Hey.
could I sit down, please?
Yeah.
Tommy is Joel's brother.
Maria wants to make sure you're eating.
They had a rough relationship, but I guess over the past 5 years, they pretty much got patched up, I guess. Tommy's voice actor is also a little different. It's apparently the same guy, but he's not adding the same inflections.
We have the guys that we would need to do this.
Certainly
smart.
looks like he aged harder than Joel did.
We'd be leaving Jackson vulnerable.
So they just get to get away with this?
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, but that's what's happening.
What if we get hit by hunters again?
Is this you talking or is this her?
It's a valid point.
If it were you or me, Joel would be halfway to Seattle already.
No, he wouldn't.
He absolutely fucking would be.
Well, we don't even know for certain that they're from Seattle.
Washington Liberation Front. That's what you said was on those patches.
What if they stole those jackets?
That's a valid point,
WLF
actually.
move.
What are you doing?
He's bringing up valid points, to be fair.
You know what? I'm leaving tomorrow. And if you want to come with me, great.
You have no idea what you're walking into. You don't know how large that group is, how armed.
I don't care. You can't talk me out of this.
I'll tell you right now, anyone in chat, my goal whenever I write the story for a recap, I just report the facts. It's not a review. I don't put my personal opinion on things. It's also not up to me to individually assume character motivations. Everything has to be justified by an action. So if a character makes a choice to do something, there needs to be something supporting in the game to it. Otherwise, it's just speculation.
Well, I'll figure something out. One day. Please.
She's just gonna sneak out anyway, but yeah. I mean, you guys have obviously all seen a recap before. You know that I just report the events and the character motivations for doing so. I don't inject my personal opinion. Now, if you want my personal opinion, you come in during a live stream, or you listen to a review if I decide to make one. And that's what we're here today for. To me, it's all about exchanging ideas. If somebody dislikes something, that's fine. But to make a more interesting discussion, please elaborate specifically why you dislike something. Or if you like something, please elaborate why you specifically like something. Yeah, and Lynn, let me tell you right now, you're not the only one. There are a lot of people who are going to go into this second game not ever playing the first game. I made the example to some people before that yes, The Last of Us, between PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, has sold over 20 million copies, and that is a lot. However, compare that to the amount of people who actually own a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4. That number is close to 200 between the two consoles. That means for all the 20 million people who played the game, 180 million people did not play the game. So it's very weird to assume that more people played the game than didn't.
I want to stop at his house before we leave. We just have to pick something up. Okay.
Alright, let's see. Important events happen, so you're going to hear my keyboard clack a lot. Sorry, not sorry. Feel free to discuss or... yeah. But yeah, Lynn, you have to put things in context. I put that PlayStation example because a lot of people think that, alright, well, if a game sold over 1 million copies, that does very well, and that's true. But when you compare that to the total population size, it's a relatively small percent. Everything's relative. Hey Jtron, yes, this is the highly anticipated sequel. I mean, highly anticipated for some people, I suppose. Let's see. I will say this, though, Brian, that the comparison to Metal Gear, there's one thing both these games have in common. They have very dumb enemy AI. With, like, zero peripheral vision. It's very weird. Let's see. Alright, let's talk about the scene we just saw. Because it's not my job when I write the, to write the recap script to say, well, Joel and Tommy, you know, they should have second-guessed a complete stranger they just met in 5 seconds, why they're taking him to this different location and stuff like that. It's against their character. That's not my job. I'm simply here to report the fact that Abby suggested they go to their mansion. Joel and Tommy agreed to do so. That's it. Moving on. Oh, and let me tell you one thing, Serial Chiller. I'm glad you bring that up about people buying this anyway, regardless. You are right. Because let me tell you, it's the same reason why people buy, like, say, a sports game every single year. And they're like, why do you buy it? It's like, you know, didn't you read the reviews or the previews or see the leaks? You may be surprised to understand that there are many people that are not as informed as you or I may be when it comes to games media. Where we will look at gaming headlines or news stories or listen to podcasts that discuss this sort of stuff. There are a lot of people that never look at that stuff, don't pay attention to it, don't care. They just walk by a game store, or maybe they're in the game section, they're like, oh, Last of Us has a sequel? Oh, that's cool. I like the first one. I'll go pick it up, and that's it. That's all the thought process that goes into it. I guarantee somebody, you know somebody like that, who just, they don't pay attention to the gaming industry news like you might. They're not as passionate about that. They like games, but they like it at a lower investment level than you. It's not wrong, it's just a personal preference. Let's see. A lot of stuff happened just now in this total... Oh, let's see. Tommy... I don't want to say they were forced to, but they were pressured to. Have to use the right verbiage. Yeah, Lynn, there's definitely the whole opinion too, and you're not incorrect on this, but it's hazardous too, where, hey, I've been burned like that making a day one purchase on a game that I believed in and was completely disappointed by my purchase. So I wait a little bit to maybe hear what other people review the game, or maybe another friend will play. Problem with that is, what if you have like I think the current controversy is that you have the early reviews, and all the reviews are saying 10 out of 10, buy this game, it's amazing. And then you have the user reviews that are a completely different story. And without having to spoil the story for yourself, do you accept it's a trust issue? Do you take the risk that maybe people are just, you understand they made changes, but you don't know if one side is more honest than the other, or maybe a source that you have? It's weird. Because there's only a couple of gaming podcasts I personally listen to. I don't necessarily listen to any gaming reviews because they're useless to me. I choose the games I want to play anyway, unless I'm doing a recap, in which case you guys choose the games I play, and I play them anyway. Yeah. It's, man, I remember when I used to be able to choose to play games. Man, it seems so long ago. This is a mansion, right? It's kind of a small house for a mansion. IGN Japan? What did IGN Japan give this game? Did they give it a different review? I know US Japan gave it 10 out of 10. Oh yeah, Ito over there, you have the right exact idea. What you do... No, Ito, don't delete that. Don't delete your comment. I was going to agree with you. I was going to say what you should do is go to like a place like GameStop and, you know, buy it pre-owned because they have the 7-day window. Play it, buy it. You know, if you don't like it, or if you beat it at that time, just go ahead and get your money back. It's cool. GameStop's in a rough spot, but they're not dead, so... And you know somebody's going to trade it in an angry fit. So I honestly will start looking around this weekend because you know somebody, again, somebody who didn't listen to their leaks, media blackout, they don't listen to any of the stuff. They are, you know they're going to buy it because they walk by and they're like, oh, cool, Last of Us just came out. The reviews say 10 out of 10. Yeah, I agree. I love that first game. And they go by it and they're like, what the F is this? I don't like it. And then they're gonna, you know, trade it back or return it or something like that. I think in the first 48 hours, you're guaranteed to get a full in-store credit refund back, though, from GameStop if you buy brand new. The first, only like since the game came out. So the game came out yesterday. So I think you have today into tomorrow where you can get your money back completely. But then after that point, it's pre-owned anyway. You can, at that point, still get it back within 7 days. Not talking about GameStop politics right now, though. A completely different discussion. Do you think making a recap of Final Fantasy XI is possible? Alright. Skyloft Mexican, I'm going to tell you right now. I have no vested interest in doing Final Fantasy XI or 14 on my own because those are massive undertakings. Please understand that that would be a massive undertaking of trying to do an MMO. To try to do the main story of even an MMO. While I know it's absolutely possible, I just simply do not have the luxury of time to devote and drop absolutely everything just to concentrate on an MMO. I don't even know if FF11 is even around. I played it a little bit back in the day, but I never finished the main campaign. So, I don't know. And I remember during this entire thing, you can say whatever you want about the game, but be nice to each other. Don't hate on anybody else. If somebody likes this game, don't hate on that person for liking the game. That's not cool, guys. We have to respect each other's likes and dislikes here. It's my chat, my rules. I have very simple rules. You can hate Naughty Dog. You can hate Sony PlayStation for deceptive marketing. You can hate the game. You can, you know, hate Neil Druckmann for dunking on you. No problems. But don't hate me for playing the game. And don't hate somebody else for liking the game. It's not cool. We respect each other. Yeah, everyone keep everything civil. No name calling. Because I would hate to have to mute any of you. But unfortunately, I have to keep a non-toxic environment. I believe that freedom of expression, while it doesn't necessarily mean hate speech, is included in that. But this is not the place for that. So everybody's cool. Everyone's forgiven. It's all good. It's all good. We're all cool. To answer the other person's question, I think we're in like what, chapter 3 now? I think we're in the beginning of chapter 3. They don't do the hard transitions like they did in the first game, so I actually there's a chapter name when you load up the game, but I don't. Oh, we can do photo mode. We could have done a photo mode of maybe Joel getting his face beamed in. And the photo mode doesn't really... It lets you zoom on just this one axis, huh? Man, photo mode just seems like a cheap thing. Recapitations are a hobby that I treat like a job. Damier. Because I take it very seriously. I treat it like a second job. But in terms of the time allowance that I have, I basically have to also just give it the time of a hobby. It's not a full-time commitment. Anyway, let me finish typing so we can continue playing. I heard there's 11 hours worth of cutscenes in this game. That seems like a lot for what's allegedly a 20-25 hour game. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of cutscenes. That's a huge proportion when almost half of your game is cutscene. Oh my god. It's like what I said earlier in the first time we had this, where The Last of Us, you spend most of it just watching the game. So even watching somebody playing it, you're basically playing it yourself, because I'm also mostly just watching this game. Very little of engagement, as Mr. Druckmann said. He doesn't want this game to be fun. So if you're having fun with this game, you're enjoying it wrong. He says they didn't focus on fun, you have to focus on engagement. So keep that in mind in the back of your head. Not about fun. It's about engagement. That was WLR, right? Washington Liberation Front? Or WLF? Or WLR? Washington Liberation something? I don't remember what it was called. I'll say it again. Yeah, you're not wrong, Brian. It is... You get way more buzz having something controversial. Way more buzz. Everyone knows bad news spreads 10 times faster than good news. So if something's great, yeah, it'll do well. But if something's divisive and triggers a lot of people, it's going to get way more buzz. Because what is it? People are like 10 times more likely to tell something about a bad experience than they are about a good experience, something like that. It's believable. We all have seen that phenomenon. They introduce themselves casually. I think it's interesting that they had us change perspectives from Abby, because Abby was barely introduced as a character. We played her for one chapter. We just know that she was looking for somebody specific from that community, so they knew Joel was there. They were already planning to hunt him down. They alluded to somebody. You could have guessed that it was Joel, but it wasn't exactly clear. Maybe it was a new character. And then we play a little bit as her, but we still don't know too much about her. And then she's immediately the person who executes Joel, which is interesting to me. Is she a leader? Because everyone else just let her do her thing, and she's clearly the shot caller. So, is she the leader of the WLR? Is she a bigwig? Interesting to note that power dynamic. I guess they'll explain that later. I think it was Abby with just ABBY, not ABBEOI. Yeah. Think of this as a group counseling. If you enjoyed or disliked this game, because now you can talk amongst yourselves. And spoilers are completely free. Since I'm literally doing a recap, I do not care about spoilers. I've explained this before, but to me, a spoiler should not ruin the overall impact of a scene. Trust me, if a scene's good, it's not gonna be impacted, good, bad, or indifferent, if one knows about it ahead of time. It should, if a sad scene happens, it should still be sad. If a happy scene happens, it should still be happy. If something was supposed to be like if anything, that's just a personal, selfish reason to experience the emotions the first time yourself. But I'm telling you right now, I don't care, so it's okay. So if you want to be like, Ellie's actually an alien or something like that. And yeah, and some people have said there's like a sex scene or whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. We're all big boys and girls here. Also, you guys should know better. That you should know that Twitter is nothing but a giant echo chamber where might makes right, and hashtags are worn like flags even though they don't accomplish anything. And people think that just yelling at each other on the internet's biggest toilet wall, bathroom wall, is going to actually impact literally anything. Just for saying something that opposes the masses is clearly foolhardy, because you're not going to actually have a discussion or convince anybody of anything. Because if so many people say the same thing, they have to be right. And if they just say the right things over and over again, it becomes the truth, because that's what everyone believes. Oh my god. I know, there are a lot of people that respond and put emotional investment into these bathroom walls. But that's, at the same time, that's a personal choice. You don't have to appear on the social media scene. You don't have to. Let's see. I don't know if Abby is transgender. They haven't said so in the game so far. She clearly works out. Being a bodybuilder is not a crime. Let's see. 4chan is definitely the epitome of free speech. I would also say it's the degeneracy of free speech, because they even allow hate speak. But yeah, I don't have the impression that they certainly haven't said if Abby is trans in any way. She just strikes me as somebody who's just really jacked, and that's fine. Being jacked doesn't mean you're transgender. Now, if she does say herself, or you find a document saying, hey, Abby is transgender, okay, well, there you go. But until there's evidence to support it, that's just speculation. Let's see. But yeah, I'm not here to make this a social or political debate. That's just a distraction. That's just going to take away from the core point, which is we are here to record just the facts. I'm just saying this is dinner death. Kill Joel. Tommy tries to console. So, in response to their retaliation, Ellie is now retaliating back. So, I guess you could say the theme of this is the cycle of revenge. Alright, let's play the game.
I couldn't get to the horses. Looks like Tommy took one. Now Maria's got the stables locked down.
JL West, how's the gameplay compared to the first game?
We'll figure something
They
out.
give you more tools. They give you the dodge maneuver.
Okay.
They give you jumping, but jumping is weak as hell. Jumping is so ineffectual in this game. It is dissatisfying. The jump button. It is comical how people look, and the distance covered with jumping almost makes you wonder why they chose to do it. It just wasn't an auto jump thing. However, during combat, there's the dodge, and the dodge is interesting because when you use the dodge maneuver, you have like a full second of iframes, and enemy attacks will just phase through you. You see them clawing at you, but you take no damage. And so if you learn if you learn the correct window to hit the dodge button on, you become invincible for a tactical second and can completely take advantage of it. It makes one-on-one duels a complete joke.
Figured we'd want to slip out that way.
So, like with the case of the runners, for example, the moment they raise their arm, that's when you have to press dodge, and then you will be immune to their flailing, and you could just counter. Do you expect that we'll be seeing more politics in AAA games? Well, here's the thing, Action Jackson. There has always been politics in all games. Art reflects reality. The perspectives, opinions, biases, and voices that come from an individual person based on what they believe will only be reflected in the art that they create. So if we truly believe that games are art, then we must accept that they are a reflection of the world created and perceived by the person who makes it, and therefore, that's politics. Now, a game, it doesn't have to be overtly political, such as I am advocating a specific special interest group. They don't have to do that. But you are making a statement anytime you are making a certain statement, because every time you say something, you are choosing not to say something else. You could read into this, and it could be an endless rabbit hole, but, you know. People use the term political in a derogatory fashion, when I think it's a little bit more correct to say that, hey, I simply don't agree with some of the messages that this game tried to focus on as part of its central themes. And, you know, that's fine. If a game's message is, hey, I'm here to talk about this particular issue that may be a hot button, more popular issue to talk about, sure. But it's like linearity. Linearity is simply a concept and tool to elaborate focus in terms of the game design. It's not in itself a bad thing, but it's often used in a negative context. But yeah. Politics can be done in a very entertaining fashion. Such as, you know, Witcher is a very popular example, Final Fantasy Tactics, or any ogre battles, you know, Fire Emblem. It's all about the politics. That's part of the meat. That's exactly what you come there for, is the politics. The more governmental and national politics, that is. Or even politics such as racism, or specific roles, or status, things like that. It's all there. It just may not be the thing that they're trying to really drill in.
What do you need? I can go get it.
I'm not going to try multiplayer, so I can't comment on it.
Okay.
I never dug into the first game's multiplayer. I know it was popular, but I never dug into it. If the dodge button is there and it functions exactly as in the main game, that would be a balance problem. That would be a major balance problem.
Thanks.
See, I say Deinonychus like she does, but I've heard other people say Deinonychus. I'm like, excuse me? But then again, you know, like British people will say like Velociraptor instead of Velociraptor. So it's like, you know, tomato, tomato, whatever. We know what you're talking about. Incidentally, I love dinosaurs. I was a dinosaur kid when I was growing up. Oh, you know, Boo, I think you're right. People don't mind political. They just don't want their actual real world politics. I think that's probably more accurate, to be honest with you. I don't think they want the things they can actually discuss in real life to be reflected in their fantasy game. You're probably right. And yet there's some people that do want to use this medium as... That's a really good sketch, by the way. Wow, Ellie can really draw. I can't draw to save my life. Michael Joel has this massive TV. They have... What is there to watch? Like, it's plugged in? Like he's watching something. Oh, you know, he's watching these VHSs. I'm surprised he's not playing the PlayStation 3 they found in the library. That'd be hilarious if Joel had a PlayStation 3. He was playing, like, Jak and Daxter or something like that. I was like, oh, Naughty Dog, you enjoy feeling yourself. And Joel has a nice house. Holy crap. Keeps it very nice and tidy. Oh, you know, I wonder if that picture of him and Sarah is somewhere in here. Oh yeah, you're 100% right, Savion. Whatever the current politics are, whatever the developer or the writer wanted to convey, that would be exactly what they talk about. So if this was the 1940s, or even like say we had the video games in the 1940s, be like, why are there black people in these video games? Why are women trying to talk in social situations? Women can't smoke in public. That's against the law. It's like, okay. I don't know if streamers are going to be, I don't know, is it literally expressive? Like literally you see, like when there's the sex scene, do you actually see parts go in action? I doubt they would be that explicit. If they are, then okay, cool. I'll just put this on a adult only filter. But I don't think that should be banned from YouTube. Because as long as you put, because when you upload a video on YouTube, if you put when you upload it, you have the option to say, hey, this video has explicit violence, like a dude literally getting shot, there's blood on the ground, this is not a video game, this is an actual dude. Or like, hey, there's boobies, like actual virtual ones though, like you actually, there's an appropriateness thing. Wow, that's really good wood carving. I was actually making a guitar. That's actually kind of cool. I didn't realize he was such a good whittler. So, but that's why, if anything, it doesn't matter, because I'm not putting this on my main channel. For like a minute, it goes up on the main channel, but I immediately take it down and then move it to the side channel OBM Plays. OBM Plays is not monetized. It gets claimed all the time by other companies, but I don't fight them, because if that channel gets taken down, whatever, it's just a stream dump anyway. I literally don't put any original content there. It's literally just a stream dump. So if you want to watch this or go back and watch any of my previous streams, there you go. Oh, I did say Savion correct. Hooray, I like trying. I haven't watched any of the recent Star Trek. I watched the first couple of episodes of Discovery, and I just dropped it because not because of anything in particular they did or said, but because it was just literally boring. It's like Enterprise. Like I watched Enterprise for like half of the first season and I just dropped off. It just got boring. And I didn't even bother with Picard. I'm like, this doesn't look remotely interesting. I never understood, like, what's the appeal of having the rotate ability? It's not like I'm looking at this for clues. I suppose this is meant to add a level of immersion, but I think it just gives the 3D modelers more work to do. Cool. Did he give you bullets for that gun? Nope. What's the significance of that cloth?
Everything okay?
Space. That's actually kind of funny. I was reading on space. I wonder if that's an actual time-accurate clock. I mean, obviously it's not. The Minihand's going crazy fast, but, you know. Actually, is that the second hand, or is that the minute and hour hand lined up? I'm trying to look at that clock. It won't let me focus on the clock. Whatever. Oh yeah, Kaine from Nier having both parts. Yeah. Irony has no redemptive qualities in and of itself. It can point out problems and deconstruct things, but it has no solution. Accurate. To me, irony is simply a tool, and like if it's a weapon, or if it's a shield, or if it's used to educate, or if it's used to destroy, is completely up to you. In and of itself, it is just a tool. People don't usually appreciate honesty, though.
I'm headed to Seattle. I wish I could let it go, but I can't. I have to bring these people to justice. Ellie's gonna try to come after me, but stop her. Take her guns, lock up the horses, maybe lock her up. Buy me some time so I can end this. Love you always, Tommy. He's gonna get himself killed.
He should have taken me with him.
You know, good on Tommy for
You
wanting
should've
revenge
given
for
us
his
the group
brother.
to go after those fuckers.
I wish I could.
You gotta try to lock me up?
I'd prefer that you stay.
That's not gonna fucking
I
happen.
prefer that you stay, but I know you better. You going with her?
Yeah.
So you're just gonna sneak out of here?
Yeah.
On foot?
Yeah.
I told the stable to let you out with your horse. Grab some ammo, too.
Bring back Tommy alive.
Thank you, Maria.
Don't thank me, just bring back Tommy. Is what she's gonna say.
Just, do me a favor and bring my dumbass husband home in one piece, please.
Yep, I love when writing goes exactly the way you think it was. Except for the part where they kill the chapter, or kill him. I can't even, oh, sorry, I kicked the desk. I can't say they killed a main character in the second chapter because Joel was not even a character in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody playing this game for the first time is like, oh wow, they killed her dad? That's tragic, but oh well, I didn't know him very well, so whatever, who cares, lol. Man, JL West right there on Kingdom Hearts, I tell you right now, that annoys me to no end. When Nomura is all like, lol, Kingdom Hearts 4, well, we're gonna have like 2 or 3 side games first. I'm like, you do this by design. You do this on purpose, and that's not cool. Stop it. Stop doing that. Just make complete stories. Stop it. But whatever, he's an artist. He needs to be inspired to do things his way. It's his vision, his baby.
On top of him.
He makes a ton of money, so they're not gonna stop him.
Joel couldn't get to his gun.
Jeez. Were you scared?
Well, I didn't even think. I just ran in there, grabbed his gun, and shot the guy in the face.
How old were you?
14. How old were you when you first killed someone?
We talking infected?
No. Fully
Yeah, it's like I want to do,
non-fungal.
because they put out a trailer for like Kingdom Hearts 2020. I'm like, excuse me, and I look like, oh, it's just an expansion to Union Cross, the mobile game that I will never play, and yet has lore that was directly tied in Kingdom Hearts 3. That makes me so concerned that when I recap Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm gonna be missing something fundamental. So now I have to do research on something outside, and I'm not gonna play that mobile game to find out.
Little faith.
First of all, I don't have a means of recording a mobile game.
What about those crazy cannibals you said you and Joel ran into? They came after you guys once.
Oh,
Maybe
see?
these
That's exactly what I was
WLs
thinking
will
earlier. Okay.
No. It didn't seem like the same group.
Maybe those black
Logical.
market smugglers back in Boston?
Do you not? Joel crossed a lot of people. I don't see the point in guessing.
At least they're realistic. They're not acting like Joel's a saint. They kind of knew he was a bad person and probably had it coming. We have a fork in the road. Or maybe we don't and all roads lead to Rome. Okay. Sure.
Ellie. Cars.
Yeah, we're getting close. Start keeping an eye out.
Got it.
Definitely, in 5 years, nature has reclaimed a lot more of all of this. I don't know if nature would reclaim things that fast. Think so? I wonder. I guess that's part of the sci-fi element. Suspension of disbelief they want us to have.
Here we go.
Just as an update to anybody
I was
jumping in,
wrong.
we're playing The Last of Us Part
Turns out
2,
you do know
mostly
where
as a
you're going.
recap and potentially review if anything interesting happens. If you want my opinion on the game so far, it's still neutral because we honestly haven't done very much. The game hasn't given us much to chew on. We've been through a couple of sneaky stealth side activities and, you know, killed a couple dudes and then killed a couple Zambos and then talked and looked at each other. A couple of sad things happened, a couple of mad things happened. We punched a dude in the face one time.
Stay with Shimmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've only been to Seattle once, and that was for a friend's wedding. Never been to the city. Proper, that is.
Anything good in there?
Found an old tourist map.
Well, that's something.
Jump down, horse. Horse, jump down. Thank you. I'm like, what? The horse is not jumping down.
Sure seems quiet. Yeah. Think about how well we hide our lookouts.
I know. That's what scares me.
Recap of Parasite Eve. It's funny. I own Parasite Eve 1, 2, and 3. I bought them, but I've never played them. I just bought them because they were RPGs. And I like horror games. But I literally never played them. There are a lot of games like that I had that I was just... There was a while, especially like during the PS2 era, where I was madly into just collecting horror RPG games. And so I have so many horror and RPG games from pretty much every console game system that came out from that time since. I missed out on a good bit of PS1 because at the time I didn't have a PS1. And so I've had to go back and get a bunch of PS1 games for my PS2 back in the day. And that's still my most incomplete collection. PS2, I have pretty much every single RPG and or horror game that ever came out in it. Stateside, that is. There's a lot of international releases I never got.
Yep. Watch the high spots.
Alright, so this is the WLR, or WLF. I don't know why I keep wanting to say R.
WLF. Trespassers killed on sight. That's friendly. At least we know we're in the right place.
Ellie has a
Where is
permanent
everyone?
mean mug.
They put up this sign. Means there's gotta be a way in.
Well, look at her eyes. Her eyes just went like rolling to the back of her head for a second there, as the game was trying to figure out what it needs to look at. That's always funny to me.
Looks like there's some cracks up there.
If I didn't know any better, given the reception of how a lot of those videos have done, I would almost dare say that the majority of the community that currently takes up the subscribers and the viewership of my channel are probably people that own a PlayStation 1 primarily at some point in their life. Because there seems to be always a very big reception for the PlayStation 1 titles I cover. Oh, they're bringing that back. Okay, so somebody was asking if clickers use echolocation. Apparently, the clickers do use echolocation to seek out their prey, but they actually kind of don't, because they're completely blind and they don't see jack shit in front of them. Because we've already seen that where I was just literally right in front of them and they did nothing. Oh, I just now noticed that there's a filter on our screen that's meant to look dirty. You look at it, there's like smudges and spots and speckles on the quote-unquote lens that we're looking through. Interesting. I just now noticed that. They put a dirt filter on. Speaking of Breath of Fire, Breath of Fire 2 is actually something I would want to play. Breath of Fire, I never played any of the games until they were requested of me for recaps, so I started with Breath of Fire 4, really liked it. First of all, Breath of Fire 4 has arguably the most beautiful sprite animation I have ever seen. Those sprites are so fluid, it is staggeringly good to look at.
Are these cages?
They made so many
cells.
frames for sprites, and there are a lot of games that have good sprite animations, but man, Breath of Fire 4, amazing sprite animations, just top tier. Top tier. Yeah, you're right. The filter is for engagement purposes. Do you feel engaged yet? Do you feel engaged that you're in a dirty environment? Hello, senior. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say if I like the game so far because we haven't played much game yet. This is a very slow burning game. I've been keeping my side notes open, of course, whenever we encounter anything for the story, and it's not too filled in right now. Oh, you can jump on top of this. Guess we can go that way. There's no way we can make that jump, right? We'll probably have to jump on the cages, though. Yeah, and jump that away. Yeah, I didn't think so. Well, one thing you have to understand is that the pace with which I play this game is going to be the pace with which I approach a recap. So there can be many times with which I'm going to simply stop and just keep typing the script as I play it. That's how I recap things. So there can be many times where it seems like I'm going at a slower pace, but... Oh, come on, game. They're like juked you.
Ellie, what about this?
What about what? Where is she? Man, the jumping in this game is so weak.
Dina, help me up here.
Okay.
So here's the thing: anytime I play, normally any game for a recap, if it's not a newer game like this, like I normally don't play brand new games for recaps. I just play them just because I want to play them. But if it's ever a game for a recap, here's what I do: when I'm researching it, I will 100 because the whole goal of getting through the recap is. I wish I could say I'm playing it organically, but I'm not. The goal is to get through the game as fast as possible. And so, for that effect, I will consult what speedrunners do to get through the game quickly. To, you know, really get through the story as fast as possible without doing stuff like skips and jumps and glitches, because that doesn't really help me. And I will always have, like, a guide out. So that way I can literally just reference it and just keep on moving, keep the story going as fast as possible.
I'm good. Just almost died.
Tetra Ninja, with a name like that, it doesn't surprise me, he's all stealth. I prefer stealth too in this sort of game, but, you know, if things go loud, things go loud. I'm here to recap the story, man. Think of me as a bard. I'm just here to get the stories and the facts and tell a story. I'm a bard wandering through this post-apocalypse mayhem. It's not my job to write the story, it's not my job to explain the story, it's my job to tell the story and to entertain the masses. Part 32? How can I tell what part I'm on? Are there chapters here? Traditional chapters? Oh, there's gonna be a stealth section part soon. Oh, I see. Video 32. You're right. I wasn't even thinking about that. I thought you meant a reference to the game and not the reference to his playthrough. Yeah, there's some people that are just taking their sweet time with the game. They want to absorb as much as they can. And that's how they want to play. That's cool. I have no problem with it. My goal is to get through the game as fast as possible so I can get the story out. But like I said before, one of the things I plan on doing is playing through this game on the blind mode, where I'm literally blind, and I'm using just the assistance that they wrote for blind people to play this game. I'm genuinely curious to experience the game, how a blind person plays it. I mean, how many times do you get the chance to do that? It's fascinating. At the same time, it's almost, I'm not saying insulting, but it's unsurprising, because this game really kind of plays itself. It's very low on the engagement factor, Mr. Druckmann. Sing for us. You don't want me singing for you. Let's be real.
Okay. I wonder when this was written.
Alright, we got codes.
The Saravena base. That's something. Now that's a generator.
Engagement. We did it. You know I'm a terrible singer. I've only been playing this sporadically too, so keep that in mind too. I'll play like 3 hours here, 3 hours there.
Oh, shit.
But thanks, Frank. I appreciate that.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see what my opinion is at the end of this game. I also personally think there's not really a reason for us to do like the whole go around there and turn this gate on, because we could just shimmy over this gate. Like Dina could have followed us and shimmied along the gate, or we could have used that cord to leap over as a rope.
Hey, everything okay? What was that sound?
I got that gate open. Gotta figure out this one now.
Well, we believe in you.
Thanks.
Who's we? I understand some people with their mode being, hey, I want to absorb this game as much as possible. I don't get a chance to play that many games, so to me I need to make each one last. I understand, I completely do. On the same note, please understand I have to go through 4 or 5 games a month, and so I kind of have to kick the pace up because I don't have the luxury of doing nothing all day except play video games and write scripts for them. I do not do this full time. I have to do other things. Bills have to get paid after all. Not a kid anymore where I could just spend, 7 hours at a time in a gaming session. Chris, I hope that you do enjoy the recap for this. I hope so.
Needs juice.
I try to do my best with every one of them that comes out. I understand no game's for everyone. You're naturally gonna piss people off, but to me, if somebody gets pissed off because I recapped a story for them, hey, that's a personal problem, man. I'm just the messenger. Don't take it out on me.
How's it going?
Can I throw this cable? If I take this off, is the door gonna close? No? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to throw it over, aren't I? I think it's cute how she coils it as she runs along. That's a nice detail. I would hesitate to call this a puzzle, though. But I guess this is the next best thing.
Okay.
Have you really bought games based on what I recapped? Man. And you know what? I'm kind of glad to hear that a little bit, because to me, even if you know, like I said before, even if you know the story of a game is actually a classic if it doesn't matter if you know the story going in. It's still good when you experience it. That's how you know it's a good game. Oh, that's right, passcode. Shit, what was the passcode? We got the number for that. How do we go to notes? There we go. Main gate 0512. Zero, 5, 1, 2.
Yes.
That should alert like literally everybody. Like that is loud. How do people not notice that?
Hey, come on. Let's get out of here. That crash was pretty loud.
Yes, it was. You should have like a dozen armed guys being like, who the hell strung up this power thing and opened up the main gate?
Now what?
Found a note back there. Had some codes on it. Says there's a WLF safe house at some place called Saravina Base.
Saravina. So we find it?
Hopefully we find our first WLF. Get them to talk. go from there.
Let's do it.
I don't know why I'm looking at these environments thinking there's some level of engagement here when that clearly wasn't Mr. Druckmann's focus. He says it was his focus, but I'm not sure I believe him. Because, like, I want to engage with your world, Mr. Druckmann. I would like to see what it has to offer, but you're not allowing me to. I can't interact with anything. I think it's funny when people are like, man, you have to like recap these multiple concurrent timelines. That's got to be hard. I'm like, buddy, let me tell you about the Zero Escape series. Where I have to tie together 4 concurrent fourth dimensional timelines in a linear fashion. Let me tell you something, that was not easy. And I clearly had to cheat a little bit by putting up a million annotations everywhere. Be like, this character is from this dimension, who originally sourced from this timeline, who came over to this timeline. This person's from this partial subset timeline as a result of this consequence. I know this is fast. Just work with me here. Try to keep up. I have not recapped Fear Effect. Zero Time Dilemma. Here's a quick trivia in case I ever get famous enough to have like a cool wiki or subreddit for myself and you have stat trackers. So far, Zero Time Dilemma is the longest recap on the channel at 55 minutes. It's a soft rule of mine to, just like I said, the 6-month rule is also a soft rule, but that just means I can make exceptions when I feel like it. Another soft rule is that I don't like any recap to go over 1 hour. To me, if I cannot sufficiently explain a game within 1 hour, I'm not doing a good job of being concise enough.
Idiots.
Idiots.
It's turning everyone against you.
I should put that as a sound quote. I don't do that in the game normally, but I almost want to. Where Ellie just kind of looks down at the piece of paper and says, everybody's turning against you. So Kingdom Hearts 3, the reason why I haven't done Kingdom Hearts 3 yet is because I'm not sure if they're done making DLC for it, to be honest with you. It's kind of weird. Like I pointed out during the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Square is in a weird position right now where they like adding extra story DLC to their games, like a lot. It doesn't matter if you feel the main story's complete, they don't because they clearly keep making more story stuff for it. So I don't know if there's more DLC story stuff for Kingdom Hearts, because there are clearly still a lot of, unanswered questions even before the game was made. And I don't know if there's going to be additional story stuff in between Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 and Part 2. So I can't recap that in 6 months. I'm still on the fence about recapping 7 Part 2, or Part 1. I want to ride this horse and jump over that fence, but Mr. Druckmann, you're not letting me engage with your world. How come I can't jump on this horse right now and ride over that fence? Why aren't you letting me, Mr. Druckmann? Engagement.
Do you know the code?
That note I found has a bunch of them.
All right, hold on. Which gate is this? East
We need
2?
to get power to the
Alright.
gate first.
Five, 3, 4, 5. Needs power. I don't want anybody telling me that this is a puzzle. This is not a puzzle.
Okay.
This is busy work.
shit. The note.
What?
The note mentioned that there's gas in the courthouse garage and the dome.
Alright.
Calvin, if you want to spoil the game,
Garage
you
and the
can.
dome.
It's not going to impact
the
my
plan for
recap.
finding
It
these
won't impact
places?
my review.
We ride around.
I literally
and
won't even care.
See what we see.
I'm not a person who's hypersensitive to reviews, otherwise I wouldn't be playing this live on YouTube and Twitch. But all of a sudden, I can jump on the horse and jump over that because the game wanted me to. Because this game has such levels of freedom to it. Unparalleled freedom. I can go anywhere I want to at any time. This world is so open with its environments, I can engage it at my own pace. I truly feel like the world has been designed for my consumption. Alright, what did I say before early when we were starting? It's really annoying when a game has a scenic vista to show you a huge scenic view and you know you're not going to go there. It just wants you to make the world feel like it's bigger than it actually is.
Pretty sure we're here.
Ah, nice.
How did you do that? Do what? Create the circle on the magic fingers. The fuck Fedra Gate. Cute. Alright, so this is embarrassing, but I am navigationally challenged. I don't know how to competently read maps. For some odd reason, I get lost extremely easily, and even having a map right in front of me makes me incredibly nervous because I don't know how to properly navigate directions. GPSs were invented for people like me. I can get lost in a room with one exit. So here's the thing, Sir Chiller. Actually, I saw your question earlier, like, hey, are they even thinking about 16? I kind of don't think so. I think they're putting all their chips on 7 Remake. For 2 reasons. Number 1, Yoshinori
What'll
Kitase
happen out here?
cannot let anything
Guess I'm
happen
gonna
to his
tear
precious
down the shit
baby.
out of this place.
And so he's 100% going to make sure that all resources are put in. Because as long as that man runs Square
Lost to the
Enix,
infected. Or to rebels.
we're going to have nothing but focused on his personal projects. It wouldn't surprise me if he went after 10 Remake next. It wouldn't surprise me.
Infected or the rebels?
Because Kitase is, in my opinion, a very selfish
Believe
man.
me.
Here's my argument for that. In case you are Team Kitase,
I'm starting to get that
if you are Team Kitase,
What would
and you
happen
think
if I
7, 9, or not,
It
let me
would
say
just
7,
become
10,
one more asshole
and
soldier.
No way.
God, what was the other one
Can't see he's
Kitase did?
taking orders from anybody.
He did 7.
Yeah.
He did 7, 8, and 10.
I gotta
So
say,
he did 7, 8, and 10.
I was
And if you're Team
expecting the
Kitase,
Seattle
that's
QB to
fine.
be a lot
Don't take
more
this as the wrong way.
wonky
However,
guy.
you can look it up.
Yeah.
Don't take my words for it, but you can
They're
look it
all
up.
hiding at
Where
the
Kitase
Seravina.
said, "Hey, we're not going to remake
How many
7
WLF
until another
there are
game
anyway?
surpasses 7's greatness,
least
quote
eight.
unquote." And what he really means to say
If
is
we're lucky, that'll be it.
sell more than 7 did.
Fine.
And
should
this is
see it.
hilarious. The very month, look it up, the very month Final Fantasy X outsold 7 in lifetime sales, because when 7 came out HD, HD, it sold a little bit, but when 10 and 10.2 came out HD, it sold a lot, and that pushed lifetime sales over 7. The moment it did, all of a sudden, Kitase comes out and said, "Hey, we're making a remake of 7 right now." Man, that's amazing
on, that was a
timing.
good one.
It's almost like you can't stand having your pet baby project be outsold by any other game. Amazing. And there goes the long race. And the development history has staggered every other major project under Square Enix since that day. Can Ellie still not swim? Is that a thing now?
Got a caravan up ahead. What went down here?
Oops. Hold on just a second. So I understand Kitase wanting to protect his pet baby project, just like Nomura wants to protect Kingdom Hearts, because that's his pet baby project. But yeah, let's be real. There's part sales, but people are not. It's not like it was not benevolence where he's like, oh, I'm finally gonna listen to all these people who want me to remake 7. It's like, you mother effer. People are asking for remakes left, right, and center constantly. You just were self-indulgent because this was literally your pet project. Like, let's be real. You just couldn't let it stand. Okay, so our magical dot follows us. That's actually kind of cool. I still don't know where I'm looking at, though, or where I'm supposed to be going. Look, everyone, it's an open area. It's an open area full of buildings that do not have entrances that I cannot interact with objects that I cannot touch, and with areas that are restricted and where I can go based on what the story is allowing me to do. Isn't it open? How open? I feel engaged.
Hear that?
I hear it.
When I talk in my review about
Building. This is gonna
low environmental tangibility, this is what I'm talking about. It's about a world that you can see but you cannot touch. Except for the signposts and NPCs with designated areas of interactivity. But that's literally it. I'm guessing the snub is a little bit better than the semi-auto. I'm guessing this is the part where it's kind of like us exploring. That thing should have been attracted to the sound of me opening that window. I want to knife this thing. Dina, get out of my way, please. I'm exploring because I don't know where I am and I don't know where to go next, so I'm just gonna kind of move with wherever I can get. Besides, more resources are not a bad thing, right? Part of me wants to be like, maybe there's lore somewhere in this. I'm like, get real. This is a Naughty Dog game. You're not going to put lore and stuff like journals and audio logs. Let's be real. That's not their style. They could have changed it. You can't assume what a sequel's going to do. I think that's been the overall learning point this entire time, isn't it? Yeah, like, what happened to Mr. Who is a composer? No, no, the composer for Last of Us. It's like It's some Latino guy, that in terms of his name. You think I would remember because I recapped it like 3 weeks ago, but I literally don't remember. But he has very subdued music in general. Alright, that's Clicker. I think it's so weird that everybody insists on having like tiny little shivs and pocket knives to go against clickers when you should do stuff like what Bill did, which is have a big ass machete or something on on a pole, like a spear, and literally kill these things from a range. Oh, there's a dude. I need to kill this guy real fast. Remember, clickers are hunt by echolocation, which also means that they're really dumb. Oh, come on, game. Pick a direction. Yeah, Gustavo, thank you. Santa, yeah, I don't know how to say it, but Gustavo, that guy. So here's the thing about Mr. Gustavo. No offense, man. I know you did your job. But other than the main theme of that game, and maybe the one called, I believe, The Path, that had a bit more of a melody, do you honestly remember any single track from the original Last of Us? Like, any of them? Do you remember a single track? If I open that, will it attract more dudes? But yeah, the title screen, though, is the main theme. Actually, no, you're right. The title screen is not the main theme. Is it? I don't think so. Strider, here's how I do recaps. I have to...
Is that it? I think so.
I have to make sure that whenever I can, I squeeze out
Front, I guess.
gameplay.
Yeah.
Because my goal is by the end of
I
this
wonder what
month,
it's
I
like to
have
serve on a
this
jury.
game as well as Persona
fun.
done
Sit down.
and serve before you find
look at
folks.
evidence, try to tell if somebody's lying.
Just give me 5 minutes and my knife. I'll tell you if they were lying or not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I really appreciate my ally having the ability to sense if there are no enemies in an area. Really, they should have Dina everywhere because she can sense if there's no enemies anymore in the entire room, an entire wing of the building. It's like, I think we're clear. Okay, I believe you. Yes, the next official RPG that I'm doing next is the first Persona.
Hey, little help? Coming.
You publicize this game, I unsub? What's that supposed to mean? Guy can't play a game? Come on.
You ever been to a courthouse before?
Nope.
You're telling me you never got in trouble back in Boston?
Oh, I got in trouble. But never landed in a courthouse.
So what I'm doing is I'm definitely going to do a recap of this game. My objective, however, is make sure that I'm breaking my soft rule of not doing something within 6 months of its release, because I get the feeling that this is a game, given how divisive it is, that some people are still going to be interested in knowing exactly what the story's about, even if they don't necessarily want to support the game financially by buying it. And so, hey, what do you know? That's where I can jump in and be like, well, I have just the product for you. Instead of watching an 11-hour cutscene only playthrough or someone else's 20, maybe 30-hour playthrough, how about you watch this 20-minute recap and get the entire story without having to play the game? Doobity-doobity-doo-doo-doo. So these guys right now are in this trying to pick up clues of where the group that killed Joel went away to. That's where we're at so far. When it says stun bomb, does the stun bomb actually work against infected? No, it's 11 hours of cutscenes. The people that like to post just cutscene only, like, you know,
Oh, the gas is in
something the movie where it's just basically all the cutscenes of the game.
Let's get down
I
there.
saw it on my feed and I saw it clocked in at 11 hours. So I'm like, all right, so there's 11 hours worth of cutscenes in this game. Got it. In a game that's roughly 20 something hours, over about half of its cutscenes. Makes sense. This is a cinematic experience. I didn't expect anything different. Oh, you have to shake your controller to keep your light charged? Okay. A survival guide for the silent majority? That's actually kind of clever. Yeah, I heard they're making a... Yeah, weren't they signing up for a Last of Us miniseries or whatever? That's a good question. I wonder how that's going to be received now, given that the fan base is currently feeling pretty sad and betrayed.
Oh, shit. That's something.
This might come in handy.
Can't take any chances.
What's it say?
This guy was a Fedra commander or
So,
something.
Senor Dirtface,
They were
Senior
losing to the
Dirtface, sorry,
WLF
that
and
read that as
trying to
Senor.
escape.
How big is
I could give you a very cynical answer to your question of how is there a market for games with so little content. So, two answers I can give there. Number one, there is a defined market. You have to remember that games aren't what they used to be in terms of like 20, 30 years ago, where it was a very special interest group of people that would play it, you know? Closet nerds and all that. Gaming is so widespread right now across so many platforms that everyone from age 40 to 94 are playing games in some capacity. So in order to hit a wider demographic market, you have to have games that accommodate and account for that varying wildly degrees of investment, of skill level, of adaptability, of commitment. And so the rise of cinematic gaming has come, where there are many popular games that remind people, because they're shot like movies or TV dramas, that you can have relatively low skill or low interactivity with the world, feel like you're engaged with the content just enough, even though the majority of what you're doing in that game is actually watching a game play out. That's cinematic experience. That's a very popular thing. Strider, I have no idea how long I'm going to be streaming tonight. It could be a few hours, it could be till I get tired. But I'm going to keep going for at least, probably at least maybe an hour and a half, couple more hours. I don't want to stay up too late, but we'll see where we're at. Here's the thing, though. It's been over an hour, and I have not added any story notes to my recap skeleton. I haven't encountered anything actually pertinent to the story yet. We've just been dicking around. And not even me just literally dicking around. It's literally nothing's happening in this game so far. Like, we're doing stuff, but we're not actually accomplishing anything. Oh, it's safe. Alright, so whenever there's a safe, there's usually a safe combo nearby. Like, probably that. Alright, 86, 7, 22. Easy peasy. How long are you into the game right now? I guess you could say 4 or 5 hours. You have 69 supplements. All right. But yeah. I guess I should be upgrading myself, shouldn't I? I haven't been doing that at all. Alright, so... Craft melee upgrades is important. That's a good one. Listen mode, movement speed. Move faster in listen mode. Oh, actually, I was using listen... Okay. So, we can't just upgrade whatever we want now. We have to go in an actual tree now. Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Where I have to learn things in a specific order. Before, it was a lot more freeform. You could invest wherever you wanted. You're like, I'm going to do health first. Or I'm going to do, you know, more defense. Which is actually what I would do, is more defense. Because if you get more defense and you're careful, you don't necessarily need more health kits. But... this game doesn't want me to do that. Alright, well we have enough for both, so... That's why there is a little bit of, first of all, why'd they make the safe based on... Oh, okay, they just literally wrote the safe code right there. Cool. Well, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. That's why there's some people that like the storytelling of, say, 20 years ago, when gaming was a lot more focused on a core demographic. And because they had to appeal to that core demographic, they had to make sure to put stuff that core demographic would enjoy, instead of it being... well, okay, we need to sell to the, I don't want to say the lowest common denominator, but that's basically what I'm saying. We need to sell to as many people as possible, so we need to make this game as accessible, I believe is the politically correct term, as possible. So as many people as possible can buy and play this. That is the marketing strategy of some studios. Not all studios are like that. Some studios are like, I don't give a flip. I'm making the game I want to make. You just deal with it. That's why there's the current tug of war of some games. Like recently came up with Sekiro. Personally, I didn't like Sekiro. However, the live debate that I thought was interesting is the debate of how accessible should a game be. I don't want to go through the alarm thing just in case this is active and it sets off an alarm. This seems like a trap to me. Or it seems like a dead end to me. Never mind. Nope, no trap. I was overthinking it. Of, hey, that game is unnecessarily demanding. Should there be a mode where more people are able to enjoy it?
That might work. Careful.
But it's like, okay, I get it. You're not appealing to a wide net of people. You're applying to a very select group of people. There is merit in that, and there's merit in the other choice. To me, I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. You just have to make a decision and stick with the consequences. You're never going to have a right answer. I sure hope a cinematic and a jump scare doesn't happen when I jump down this hole. Phew, thank goodness.
Shit!
Shit. Damn it, Dina, I thought you were gonna get my back on that. Okay, so there's clickers in that group. Count that as a death. How do I reload? Hold on, how do I reload? Oh, you reload by holding down R2? Okay. I only have one bullet anyway, so it's not like it matters. Yeah, the AI is actually doing stuff. That's actually pretty cool. Alright, so they are basically invincible, except they have that occasional timer.
Jesus. I think that's all of them.
Those Fedra guys never even made it out of the garage. Damn. Well, let's find that gas.
But yeah, as you can see, if you just look at any of the runners, the moment they raise their arm and you press dodge, you just immediately iframe out of their initial wailing of attack and just can kind of melee them safely. It doesn't matter. The dodge is very OP. Once you identify the proper window, it's super easy. It doesn't necessarily work in a crowd though. You can't spam dodge. So you can't keep dodging forever.
Back up over here.
And if you're being flanked, then it is a problem. But hey, that's just the usual battle thing. If you got yourself surrounded, you're right, you're in a bad position. But that's kind of also your fault for being in a bad position. How many games are being made that days that would be considered classics? Ooh, I think you're asking a very tricky question there, Jeff. Because by definition, in my opinion, okay, this is me being cynical, which I think you're going to get a lot of. I do not believe in the term modern classic. I think that's a mock term. That's slang for somebody who's like, I like this game so much, and I like it more than any games around me currently, so I'm going to call it a modern classic. You don't get to call something a modern classic. A classic has to stand the test of time. How long is enough? That's kind of a sliding scale, isn't it? I think after enough time has passed, enough people in general, like that to me is up to the public to decide what is considered a classic, quote unquote. But yeah, I think a litmus test is 10 years. Or at the very least, at least one console cycle. It's hard to tell because console cycles are different. We've only had, what, 7 console cycles? We're going into 8. That's a fair amount of time to gauge the length and relevancy of a game.
Here's our gas.
If the next gen comes out and it's not relevant or you already saw something that's better, then whatever. That is the jankest way to do gas.
Seriously? That giant tank?
I don't think games are getting less and less innovative. Because think about it, the world of gaming is bigger now. Not just AAA games, but you also have lower budget games.
Get out of here.
You have small studio, those low budget, people call them single A. I think it's a dumb term. I don't think since we even have a core concept of what AAA is, other than it has a big team and a lot of money behind it. But you have like those smaller studio games, you have indie games. The indie game scene is bigger than it's ever been. Indie games have always been being made. People have always been making their own games on the side. Always. Since the concept of gaming came out, people would make like their own little ROM hacks or Doom clones or roguelikes, and they put on those little 3.5-inch floppies. That's always been around. However, game development is being embraced at such a younger age. A lot more interest is in it. Colleges are teaching it. There's more of a general interest in it. So we're seeing more creative projects come around. There are still ideas, plenty of innovation going around. You just have to look for it. But I don't think you have to look very far. Ah, well, see, Strider, the concept of a safe bet. Ooh, there's always risk. There's always risk. I don't think you can ever have a safe bet. Because the sliding scale for what's popular is always moving.
Good job, babe.
There's a half-finished article I wrote.
Okay.
I may or may not put it out. I may just leave it as a patron-only stuff.
It might be worth grabbing
But-
some supplies before we press on.
Man, this horse is super smart. Parks itself exactly where the exit is. But I used to make fun of the years for what was popular during that year. And it's different every year. For example, in 2014, it was basically 2014. Because in 2014, if you look, there are so many ports that came out. Because that was the first year of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. People forget, people have short memories, but neither of the game consoles had very robust launches in terms of games. And for the first year, you had a steady diet of ports of games that already came out, including The Last of Us, by the way, that you already played. But now you have the opportunity to play it at a better frame rate with slightly better visuals. Wow, good job. That's truly next gen. That was 2014. 2015 was when MOBAs were the hotness. If you were a MOBA in 2015, everybody had a MOBA. You were nobody if you didn't have a MOBA. It was MOBA 15. Yeah, I try to think of pun names for everything. But yeah, 2014 was 2014. 2015, I don't have a funny name for it. Help me out. But yeah, it was basically MOBA 15. It doesn't roll off the tongue as well. But yes, in 2015, it was MOBAs. You had MOBAs everywhere. Yes, we already had Dota 2 and League, but that was when it was really catching on. Really catching on. You started having other MOBAs come out, including third-person ones like Smite. I think even Battleborn was in development, but Battleborn came out in 2016. Which, going to 2016 is known for two things. Number one, it was when hero shooters were the popular thing. Yeah, everyone had multiplayer, but did you have a hero shooter? Because guess what changed the game? It was Overwatch. Overwatch changed the overall gaming sphere in two ways. It made popular hero shooters, which are kind of coming back in a weird way. Those came back, and this is the bad part, it popularized microtransactions. Microtransactions were always around. They've been around since the last 15 years. They were more prevalent, of course, in mobile games. However, oh no, League is still super strong. League is basically tops when it comes to MOBAs. However, you don't have to have a MOBA now. Everybody doesn't have to have a MOBA. 5 years ago, everybody had to have a MOBA. 4 years ago, everybody had to have a character shooter.
My sister always avoided.
It's like in 2011, everybody had to have a modern military shooter. Everybody had to be Modern Warfare 2. Everybody had to be Modern Warfare 2. You weren't anybody if you didn't have a game in which you were aiming down sights and shooting dudes with modern guns. You were nobody. Everybody was putting out games like that. And I continued on. I went into 2017, 2018, but I kind of stopped writing that, making that little joke pun article, and so I never published it. All that are part of my collection of half-written digital hindsights. You could say 2019, or actually even 2018, is year of the Battle Royale. 2019, I say, was more Battle Royale than 2018. 2018 was when you started, like, in the beginning it was like, of course, everyone knew about like the DayZ mod, and that kind of popularized it. But then, of course, PUBG was making great gains on that.
Where you going?
And of course, once Fortnite hit the scene, that was all anyone talked about. Use gate code for Gate West 2. Hold on. Zero 0451. Oops, not the one I meant to do. I meant 251. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh shit.
Look at all these bolts. There must be 17 nuts and bolts here.
That was some good scavenging.
So this is where I think it's going to be polarizing. There is a great attention to detail for the things they chose to put detail into. And for everything else, it's been ignored. So it is feast or famine when it comes to this game. For example, the animation of Ellie pulling out her map, folding it over, writing on something, it being persistent, it having its own physics. A very expensive animation to put on that. However, that animation and attention to detail is input for a great many
Sounds like a place
things.
we call home, right?
Yeah. When I first got to
Because
Jackson,
it's
I
not
was
like I can
so
just
overwhelmed
kick down
by
this
all the
door and
people.
walk through, even though there's
I was overwhelmed
really
by all the
fundamentally
food.
nothing in this world that's preventing me
I
from
remember my
doing
first
so.
week just
Like, it's
gorging
clearly
myself,
glass. I can see through it. I can
stuffing
kick
food
through it,
in
but the
all my
game won't let
pockets
me.
for later, like it was gonna run out.
Because,
I
it, you know,
saw
it's
that.
engagement.
You did not. I did. I remember thinking, who is this string bean girl stealing all the
No. Here's the thing, Senior Dirtface. Overwatch popularized the loot box. Because, and people have done studies on this. Before Overwatch did loot boxes, only a handful of games did loot boxes. A lot of games have microtransactions.
Shimmer?
There have been microtransactions
You
since
don't
technically the 80s, where you
no.
could buy DLC for your
Shimmer
Sega
says we
Genesis,
should
and
find a
over the
bakery.
over a copper phone line, it would download into your
can go buy
system. They've
some
had DLC for that long.
thoroughbred.
DLC is an old concept. It's just gotten better with technology.
You only have yourself to blame.
However, loot boxes, and the way we know them and hate them, that was popularized by Overwatch, because after Overwatch came out and the boatload of money they made on loot boxes, after that point, the amount of games that had similar mechanics, surprise mechanics if you will, skyrocketed. Actual proof and data on this. Don't take my word for it. You can absolutely look up the studies people have made in terms of loot boxes before and after Overwatch. Overwatch was the catalyst that propelled the concept of the loot box being popular. But yeah, EA Sports took that concept and ran. Oh, but don't worry. I hear surprise mechanics are very ethical. It's the loot boxes out of the problem, but surprise mechanics, very ethical. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't need to regulate it. Pills here. Let's make a Molotov. For like this big area, you may be thinking like, wow, this is a big area. You have a lot of stuff to do, see, explore. Sort of. Because it's true that I'm exploring, but what I'm actually doing is I'm looking for points with which I can access, because I can't go to the next part of the game easily. Oh, how do I turn off my flashlight? Okay. Right stick. It's more accurate to say that I'm lost. And so I'm taking advantage of it to learn the lay of the land and look at things. But like, I can't open this door. Never mind. If this was Silent Hill, it would give me a message saying the doorknob is rusted shut or something like that. Here's the thing. The first game, people called it survival horror. It really wasn't. It was absolutely more of a stealth game. In my recap, I chose to lead off with it's a stealth game first, and an action and survival / horror game distant second. Because the primary mode of engagement in that world is you crouch down, hiding behind chest-high walls and cover. Doesn't matter if it's against zombies, doesn't matter if it's against dudes. That game is 90% engagement being stealth. That is what you do in that game. And everything else after that, whatever. You don't even encounter zombies for most of the game. It's mostly just regular bandits and dudes. Okay. For real though, where am I supposed to go? Does the question mark mean it's somewhere I can enter? I think it is. So, if this is a survival horror game, in any capacity, I do wonder if this is one of those where it's feast versus famine. They're giving you a lot of supplies because there's going to be a very long time with which we're not going to get a steady amount of supplies. That's my Resident Evil thing, my instinct triggering, because in Resident Evil that's the common thing, is they give you a room full of supplies when you're going to be consuming those supplies, and you got to make them last.
Shit.
It's always feast or famine.
Acquired taste, my ass.
Like, I don't care about collecting these trading cards. I really do not. Like, you know, well, you could have just opened the door. You didn't have to break the glass. But whatever. Ellie's a big girl. She doesn't take shit from anyone. Yeah, people have called Last of Us survival horror. No lie. People have said that it's a survival horror game. It revolutionized the survival horror genre. I'm like, excuse me? Excuse me. Revolutionize survival horror. That is a very bold statement that I do not believe you can justify.
Look out!
Ellie, watch out. Ellie, watch your arm. The moment she raises it, I need you to press L1.
Yeah.
You become invincible for 3 seconds.
I don't know. I hate that shit. What's this?
Oh, we got a key. My map is glowing in the dark. Why? That's so weird. Man, I'm getting a ton of paper. I'm getting literally nothing else. Well, we can get some skills going. I don't like any of these skill options, just being real with you. I guess I'll do maximum health. I guess we'll work towards that. These skills just seem so minor. Like, they're so minor, I feel like if you went through the game and got no skills, you would almost not even see a noticeable difference in your game. They just seem so minor. It's like, why did you even bother having a skill tree? There are certainly survival aspects to it, and there are horrible people in this game. There are certainly monsters. Like, it's definitely zombies, you know?
Might be worth checking out.
You got zombies. I guess because it has zombies, people just put it in the zombie sort of horror game genre, and it is true that it does have many zombie movie tropes to it. That is absolutely true. I wouldn't argue about it not being a zombie game. Oh, is WLF, are we supposed to go to that building that's all the way over there by the water? I think that's where we're supposed to go. I guess we should try that question mark that's right ahead of us first. Because I think we got a key there, so... Okay, you're gonna see me check the map very often because I'm chronically lost. If you ever have the misfortune of driving with me anywhere, you are going to notice that not only did I get lost immediately,
Hey, isn't that the key you found?
but I'm very calm when it comes to being completely lost because I'm constantly experiencing a state of I have no idea where the hell I am. That's actually quite normal for me. Black Magic always has a skill tree.
Oh shit, I got it.
Let's see what we got in here.
I sure hope when I open this door nothing scary pops out and gets me.
What the hell is this place?
Some kind of WLF something.
They think we're sheep. Bare your fangs.
What is that?
WLF propaganda. Reminds me of the
Why would I just
Fireflies.
take one sheet? All this is valid paper I can use. Why would I not take more of this?
Protectors of the
I should be able to
Constitution.
pick this up, all these sheets of paper, till my little blue backpack can't do
What was their
anything.
deal?
Ex-Fedra types who thought Fedra had too many rules. They ran protection rackets. They took multiple wives. Great dudes.
Ugh, yikes.
Yeah.
What's this?
Here's their plans to hit that convoy.
Man, WLF just wiped the military out. Way more successful than the Fireflies ever were.
Yeah, I know. F those fireflies, am I right?
Think we got everything here.
Oh, I see. I'm not actually picking up items. I'm picking up items to complete a circle, which counts as an item. Which counts as enough core material to craft something. I think that's how they did in the first game, too. Doesn't matter. That's how this game chose to do it. I mean, I got a second holster now. I
Gunyan
can-
Ghost would have loved this.
Can I dual wield? I cannot. Ellie is not a pistol arrow.
Who?
They were these feral cats I had before I came to Jackson. But they didn't seem to want to leave with us, so I miss those scratchy little shits sometimes. You have any pets?
Nah, it was never really my thing.
Oh, maybe when we're done with all this, we can get a nice little creature to take care of.
Alright, deal.
So when I was writing my commentary on Final Fantasy 15, one of the things I talked about in terms of what makes good character development is effective dialogue. If you have effective dialogue, that is the most natural way with which... Hey, Dark, what's going on? No, trust me, I took breaks. Like, I haven't played since lunchtime. I was just doing other stuff. And then dinner came around, did that, and... Because I'm doing recap, that means I have to squeeze in a few hours here, a few hours there. But yeah, Jeff, like I said before, this is a slow burn game. But a lot of it feels like padding. But a lot of it's also so you can get more dialogue going. Because the more dialogue you have between characters, the more of a bond we as humans feel because we're social creatures. So dialogue is the most natural way, or working alongside someone, that we understand someone and therefore can have emotional investment. That's how character development works. And so games that have more of that have better character development. Now, to have a fully fleshed out character, you should have not only character dialogue, but character dialogue between different people. Because the more people you have character dialogue with, they will push you in different directions, challenge your character in different ways that you therefore have to express and portray that character in a different way. Because of that, you now have a more fleshed out character because you understand where that character stands, what they agree with, what they disagree with, what their emotional triggers are, just like how you would do in real life. That's character development, but it takes time to do that. That's one of the reasons why 15 was very successful, because they did that not only across the main character and cast, but throughout the entire game. That's why it is such a well-written game for characters.
Okay, I think that's everything here.
You don't have to like the game. I personally did. But the one thing you cannot deny is that it has very well-written characters, because I spent a lot of effort into that aspect. No other, outside of Crisis Core, no other Final Fantasy game has come close to trying that level of dialogue interactivity. Hey Dark, Nano says hey. He's joined the YouTube band. Even though I love both my Twitch and my YouTube band equally.
Hey, you nervous at all?
About?
After everything we found out
So
about the
going back to
WLF.
over here, because they're now trying to establish Dina, this entire chapter
Yeah, you're right.
is for the purpose of establishing Dina as a
Amazing.
character.
It's on the map now.
I'm telling you right now, this was not meant to invoke gameplay, because there isn't gameplay very much being evoked. There's been a couple of supply depots, sometimes you stab a dude. The entire point of this entire wide area is to give enough conversation opportunities to have the player form some sort of emotional investment into Dina. That's the reason why they are constantly talking, and she is constantly reacting to things. That is the purpose of this narratively. They are doing a lot of talking. They're not saying much, but they don't have to. Because if you're invested in this game and you're focusing on nothing but what Dina has to say, as your traveling companion and as she fights with you, you're like, wow, I'm appreciating Dina more as a person. That is the purpose of this scene, entire area. It is not to invoke gameplay, it is to invoke a greater sense of attachment to Dina. Whether that is successful, however, is up to you. I'm just telling you that's exactly how this stuff is written. Now, if this had good gameplay at the same time as doing character development, that would be good game design. You can do both. But right now, since the game design isn't the best in this area, the entire point of this this entire area, like I said, is just to make Dina seem more significant. I don't know how long she's going to be involved in the story, but this is to form an emotional bond. So if you're feeling emotional bonds right now, good. That means all the talking has worked on you. Oh, and by the way, shout out to... I forgot to shout out my comment, but Final Fantasy 15 fishing game, excellent fishing game. One of my personal soft spots in games is any game that has a good fishing mini game. I love a good fishing mini game. I actually don't really enjoy fishing in real life, but I love fishing mini games in most games. And 15 has an amazingly good one. I did all of the fishing I could possibly do. All the legendary fish. 15 has a great fishing minigame. I love it.
Hey, Valiant Music Shop.
Should we check for supplies? Ration Distribution Center.
In Boston, we'd line up for blocks. And the food sucked.
I go crazy.
Some people did.
Creek. Nope.
Check out those stained glass windows. I don't see many of those.
Fuel distribution. Here we go.
I don't want to go up the ladder just yet. I want to kind of check out my
Boston always had
surroundings.
Food shortages. Hungry people get desperate.
get through?
No, I don't want to go through here yet. I want to find out this damn area.
I got you.
Game, you better let me go back. Fuck. Damn it, really?
Stay low.
I want to go back. Oh my god, because this game has so much engagement, I can go back. Staying crouched in tall grass makes it harder for enemies to see you. Okay.
Fuck! Watch out!
Okay, so when you hear the little audio cue, that means somebody sees you. I realize that now. Because at first I'm like, what is that weird rising audio cue? Oh, that's
I
visibility.
think we dropped all of them.
There's an audio cue for
Looks that way.
visibility. I guess if I was a cool person, I would have like leapt onto this truck and stabbed the dude. But whatever. I want to go back and explore that building. And the game won't let me. Oh well. Whatever was in there, we're never going to see. Engagement, everyone. The freedom to make your own choices. Oh my god. Don't you love it when like you go down a path and the game just through a cutscene locks you off because you wanted to explore? And they're punishing you for exploring by locking you into the next section of the game and you can't go back. And you're like, wait, I wanted to, oh my god. And that's it. I like how Dina is not even bothering to go prone. Alright. We should probably just avoid the middle path since there's no cover there. I think that's what the game's telling us. And just move by with just killing these dudes from behind cover. I love that the game gives me choices. But it's true, Neil Druckmann, like he said, he hates how Red Dead 2 limits choice. Oh shit. That was bad. Alright. Got flanked there. Alright, so not that blind. I love how they can just step right on Dina and they literally don't give a shit. In fact, I'm gonna make a timestamp note of this because I want to make sure that if I'm gonna expose the fact that the enemy still doesn't give a shit about the AI, it's that. Because, you know, they're so good at making AI. Instead of making smart AI, they just make dumb AI that handles dumber AI. More things change, the more they stay the same. Now, to be fair, to be completely fair, Naughty Dog has never done good AI, ever. The AI in Uncharted, for example, it's so laughable, it's so bad. Everybody's so dumb in that game. You know what the infected can't do? They can't climb ladders. Take that. So if everybody just put their house on stilts, that would completely solve the zombie problem. Because the infected are too stupid to climb ladders. Which makes you wonder how they get inside most buildings that have no easily accessible area for you to get past. I guess they were just already infected. Man, I sure hope a giant fight doesn't break out here. That would sure be inconvenient. Well, Dita's just chilling out, hanging out. I guess I could just chill out and hang out.
Hey, Ellie. This place is a synagogue.
How can you tell?
Because I'm Jewish.
One, there are menorah decorations on the wall. It's a Jewish thing. And two, I didn't burst into flames just now, so
Burst into flames?
it's just a dumb joke.
Oh, unlike your other ones.
Ooh, cut down. Get a burn for that.
This place brings back a lot of memories. My sister used to drag me to a synagogue all the time.
Alright, so we learned that Dina was once Jewish.
You never struck me as much of a believer.
Nah, but I like coming from a long line of survivors.
See? Look closely.
Outbreak?
Remember what I just told you. The
Yeah.
entire point of this chapter is to flesh out Dina,
Holocaust.
learn more about her,
My
and the
family
more
always
you
made me
learn
feel
about
loved.
her, the more you're going to get emotionally invested in her. When you've been on so many adventures and many battlefields like I have, where you go through so many of these games, you kind of start seeing the patterns. Where it's like, I know the exact point of this scene. This scene is to establish that character.
Latches on the other
And most
side.
people could be like, oh my god, the writing in this game was
Found
amazing. Like,
gas.
yeah, there were specific scenes designed
Back there.
to trick you into believing that things are greater than they actually are, because that's the actual narrative focus of it, despite the fact that you're doing something else. Surprise! That's writing and game design. Now, that's not to say that's a bad thing. It's simply a choice. A choice that, based on your reception of it, can be deemed as good or bad. If you are, in fact, feeling more attached to Dina, and you feel that you appreciate her character more, then it was successful. That means it was well designed, and that you enjoyed the proper reaction for the effort they went through. If you think it was a giant waste of your time, then it obviously fell flat.
Okay.
If you feel literally nothing for Dina, then there you go. By the way, the entire reason we're here is to find gas. Gas, so we can go all the way back to the first area and put it in a generator to open a door. Just in case you wondered what we were doing here, we were looking for gas.
Alright. Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, language. This is a house of worship.
We got some gas.
Oh, fuck yeah.
See, she did an ironic thing. She's a funny person. She's got tons of jokes. So, just so you guys know, I know this is an international crowd for the most part, but tomorrow is Father's Day in America. So, first of all, wish your dad well. Second,
Do you still pray?
you need to understand that somewhere in the world, there is a father getting this game as a gift from his child, and they are playing it for the first time tomorrow.
Sometimes I just say little ones.
And so I want you, no matter what your faith is, to pray for that person.
Does it help?
And based on if you like it, cheer for their success, or perhaps
Helps me put things
hope
in
that they
perspective.
have a better Father's Day.
Way to deal with grief. A way to show respect. It's what I know.
So what they're going to do with Dina is there's a couple things you can do with a character. Actually, there's a lot of things you can do with a character. But if they're trying to put an exceptional amount of emotional investment, they could be doing a couple of different things. Number one, they could be going for the backstabber route, where they put a lot of emotional investment in a character, and then they turn around and betray you. And because they betrayed you, because the amount of love you felt for that character immediately turns to hate. That is the easiest way to generate an antagonist feeling, is have something you love immediately turn into hate. Ironically, you could use that example in a metaphysical way and say that's exactly what happened with Last of Us 1 versus Last of Us 2. All the love turned into hate from a lot of people. The strength of that love is 100% proportional to the amount of hate it's going to get. Another thing you could easily do, you can do ye old Yeller trick, i.e. What Final Fantasy VII did with Aerith, which is you put a lot of quick emotional investment into a character and then immediately kill them off because you are giving something to the player, letting them enjoy it, and then taking it away. That's the old Yeller trick. And therefore, people will feel emotional loss at that, and they won't quite get over it. And because you left that emotional scar is the reason why certain things leave an emotional impact for them even after the game is done. Such as Joel getting killed in the second chapter of the game. It's the old Yeller trick. Or she could just be a cool bro and just literally back you up for this entire game, and you appreciate her as like the low-key MVP of this entire game. They could do that too. But usually when they put a lot of emotional investment in somebody and you're not playing as them for some portion of time, it's usually one of the first two examples. Again, where Final Fantasy 15 succeeded is you got to play as each of the individual bros, and so you got to appreciate them on their individual strengths. They didn't feel like they were supporting characters. So it was appreciated. Doesn't this bring back memories to the things that we did? Look at this puzzle. Yeah, like Joker. Joker was Mass Effect's MVP. 100%.
There we go. This way. Right behind.
The old Yeller trick, it's, you can't really say, I actually, you're right. I shouldn't say that the killing Joel was the old Yeller trick, because your emotional investment in Joel only comes if you played the first game. They didn't put emotional investment in this game except in the very beginning, saying, this old man must be her father because he's teaching her how to play guitar and gives her a guitar and is generally nice to her, and she's concerned when he's in trouble. Even though they're kind of having some sort of relationship strife or something. They never really explained why they were acting so cold to each other, did they? But it's clear they care about each other. So they didn't put as much effort into that. So if you're walking into this game for the first time, you're like, I guess her dad got killed or something.
The what?
It's scripture. It's
So yeah.
like a Jewish Bible.
Oh, yeah, so Strider, just letting you know straight up
Half burned.
that in the end of chapter 2, Joel and Tommy are basically help out Abby, who you were playing as for a little bit of chapter 1, and she reacts to him being called Joel, and you realize that she was looking for him when they were saying, hey, the dude we're looking for is in that city. And it turns out that she leads him back to her mansion. They gang up on him, knock out Tommy, and shoot him in the leg with a shotgun and beat him to death with a golf club.
Ellie, careful.
It's okay. It's holding.
Oh my god, Ellie's jumping as shit here. Well, I mean, the reason why... So if they were Fireflies, it would have been 100% understandable because, yes, Joel murdered their base, killed their mission, and killed their leader. Sure. but it's the WLR. No, WLF. God, I can never remember the organization. The WLF. Oh, hey, can you grab that rope, or I'm supposed to jump to it, aren't I? And no, they're hunting Joel, but they don't quite explain why. All they know is that they're hunting him and they wanted to kill him, and they succeeded in doing so. I believe Washington Liberation Front or Force or something like that.
Right.
Well, she specifically didn't want to kill Joel fast. She just said, hey, you don't get to pick this. And she specifically took her time beating him to death. It has not been declared exactly what her relationship to Joel is, that she would want personal vendetta. I imagine that will probably be a twist later. So anyway, Ellie's, of course, got a front row seat to that execution, and so she's super mad. Tommy, of course, is low-key super mad too, so even though his wife said, no, we don't have the resources for it, we actually need to pack up and go, Tommy's like, okay, that sounds like a good idea, you go on ahead, and then he just bolted immediately. And his wife, because she's actually not an idiot, is like, God damn it. And also, I know Ellie's going to do the same thing, so to help curtail that, she's like, yo, I know you're going after him, I'm not going to try to stop you. Instead, please go in more equipped. And by equipped, I mean we're not really going to supply you with any actual supplies. And we're going to give you a horse. We're going to give you Dina. And please bring back my husband.
That's a Hebrew calendar for the new year. My sister used
That's your very quick recap. I could actually give you the recap I wrote so far because it's barely 100, probably like 200 words. It's not even a 2-minute recap. This is like the length I write for the intro. There's been that little actual story so far.
Jewish holidays are all about food and celebrating not getting annihilated by our enemies.
Dude, most holidays are about food. Where are you?
Survivors.
Exactly.
Yeah, Mr. Skill to Kill. I'm not on the cool kid list for getting games early, so because I'm not a anybody fanboy, no channel gives a shit about me promoting their video or my opinions, so it's all good. I understand.
Okay.
I'm not a cool kid. Yeah, it'll start the usual. Released by Naughty Dog in 2020. The Last of Us Part 2 would be a direct sequel follow-up to the blah 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 released in 2013. Oh, hey, I got back to the spot I wanted to be. Fallout 76 will actually get a recap when it actually has a story to recap. How about that for starters? Get yourself a story first, and a story worth telling, and then then we'll talk about getting a recap. Like I'm gonna waste my time with that. Oh hey, we got to go back outside. See? If Neil Druckmann was ever watching this, he's like, see, you were complaining about your lack of freedom, but you got back outside, didn't you? Aren't you happy? Aren't you glad that you engaged with my world and got to see all that? All right, Mr. Druckmann, fine. I still can't go to those distant buildings, though.
Onward, Shimmer.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the
doing
polls
back
are going to
there?
pull out.
Getting homesick?
A little bit. You?
Same. Miss having a roof over my head.
You know, I've always dreamed of fixing up a farm just outside of Jackson.
Why wouldn't you stay in town?
I don't know. I like the idea of real space.
Sounds lonely.
Only if you're doing it alone.
Okay. So are we gonna, like, raise sheep and milk cows?
Oh, come on, Horace. You can get
Are
up
you
there.
making fun of me?
No, it actually sounds kind of nice.
Really?
Yeah. Really?
Well, that was an adventure.
Was it?
Found any of
Was
them
it
yet?
an adventure? Because I feel like I spent an hour and a half not
We
accomplishing
barely
very
started
much.
looking.
Yeah, I know. Just thought we'd see one of them by now.
Not the level of, like, say, Death Stranding, but kind of close. But yeah, everything we just did was just filler. I literally am not going to recap the part where Ellie and Dina encountered a gate in which they needed gasoline. And so they went and stabbed a bunch of dudes and snuck around and talked about the Jewish faith for a little bit. And then got the gasoline and then turned on the generator to open up the gate. Yeah, that's not how that's going to go. This is all the stuff that you don't see that just gets edited out. And there will be somebody, sometime. There's always at least one person where it's like, you forgot to mention the part where they turned on the generators and had that adventure in the big city. I'm like, no, I did not forget to mention that. It just wasn't
Those
relevant.
generators are pretty finicky. Might take you a few tries to... Oh.
Sorry, go on.
Nothing.
That's why game length has nothing to do with story length. Most people may be surprised that when you cut a story down to size, it may not actually have as in-depth of a story as you maybe initially thought. Long game does in no way mean long story. East 2. What is the East 2? I forgot to get the right thing. I'm sorry. East 2, 5345. Look at this engagement. I had to get my backpack, open up that piece of paper, look at the number, remember the number, and manually punch it in one digit at a time. That's engagement. You can't do that in anything but a modern day game.
Keep an eye on those windows.
The horse's only ability is to bypass those, because everybody realizes they can't actually
WLF.
jump over anything.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
You see that? Infected just hopped that fence.
Oh, means we can get in that way.
Well, to be fair, I didn't expect that the infected could jump fences, so I was actually surprised for a second.
I don't know what's going on.
I was like, whoa, the infected can jump fences now. That's kind of a new thing. I wasn't even giving him that much credit. Alright, so East 1. Alright, so I guess we have the option of jumping in after them, don't we? Actually, we probably don't. Let's find out if we do or not. Oh, we do. I was gonna try going and opening the gate. No, we don't have the East 1 gate code, so we can't even open it if we wanted to. Okay, so... cool. Yeah. Well, so far what we've learned about Dina is that Dina is a sassy girl who used to come from a family of faith, used to have a sister, has dreams of leaving the compound for some bizarre reason, even though it's literally the safest spot on the entire planet. Wants to raise a farm not too far from it, even though you live in the frozen Colorado mountains. And generally likes her new flavor of the week, which is Ellie. Even though she was dating this other dude for just years, apparently, and it just didn't work out. I hear it always rains in Seattle, though. We're not... Actually, we are in Seattle. I take that back. We just cutscened over to Seattle. Yeah, I always heard that it rains a lot in Seattle. I hear that's the running joke.
To your left.
Alright, there are a lot of bogeys in there, to be real. Alright, I need no clickers. I don't hear clickers. I just hear a lot of dudes. Alright, let's start thinning out the herd at least. Ah, shit, I'm on fire. Tactical. I meant to do that.
Okay.
The fire, it did something. That cost me a lot of health, but at the same time, kind of got through that a lot faster. I meant to throw it at the second person, so that way it would cover that archway with fire, and I would stab the first person, but auto-aim just said, you're gonna throw at that first person who's right in front of me. So I'm like, okay. Game's like, good job, have an empty Coca-Cola bottle. But hey, crowd control, Molotov cocktail. I probably should have thrown the stun bomb. I'll think about that next time. That seems like the crowd of people that a stun bomb would be good for. I will say this though, at least the ally NPCs are actually doing shit in combat. Although they kind of did stuff in the last game. I remember that in the early parts I could just leave combat to Bill and Tess, and they would just, if you could get them to block a doorway, they would just, you would see Bill just machete dudes, just line them up, and he would just keep macheting dudes. You could let Bill do all the work. And same thing for Tess. You could let Tess like get caught, and then you could just backstab whoever grabbed her. You could just use her as live bait. So the invincible NPCs do have a purpose. I don't think it's anything new that they're just, oh, the NPCs are now useful. They've always been useful. You just have to find a way to get around their derpy AI to do work for you. Actually, she's standing up, isn't she? Yeah, she is. See, the AI has a radar. You can use them as a canary. If there's no foes around, they're going to stand up like it's normal. Write that down. That's a pro tip.
This one's fresh. And he's got one of those wolf patches. Guess they didn't make it out with the gas after all.
That's good, right?
Those fuckers who killed Joel got taken up.
Not gonna lie, after seeing Resident Evil 2 Remake, this level of gore does not impress me. Not saying it's a contest, but I'm just saying RE Engine is amazing and it's a better gore in that one. So, this is good effort. But like this is like at school where it's like, all right, Billy, that's a very good drawing, but Johnny over there, he had better lighting. But I don't have RE Engine like Johnny does. I'm sorry to say that, Billy, but that's just the technological limitations I'm afraid some of us face. If your parents loved you more, maybe you'd have RE Engine. So, funny story about RE3, I have not played RE3 yet, as much as I love RE, because I ordered the collector's edition forever ago when it was available. It was supposed to be mailed to me. Corona got it lost in some warehouse in like Chicago, and it wasn't found for like 3 months until literally today. And so they asked her, it's like, hey, do you want to still like, we'll look up for it. It's got to be somewhere. It's like, of course it's got to be somewhere. There's a tracking number. It just stops in Chicago. So it's somewhere in that damn city. It's somewhere in that warehouse. Somebody just needs to find it. And eventually it was found. And I finally got contacted and be like, oh, hey, good, we found your thing. It's on its way. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. So 3 months late, but I'm finally getting my copy of Resident Evil 3. That I paid for so long ago. They offered a refund, but I'm like, I don't want a refund. I want my special edition impossible to get version of the game. Alright, can I craft a cool blade on this thing? I can't. I don't have duct tape. So, I was like, man, this day is looking up. Getting my Resident Evil finally.
Been shot.
But you have to play
Recognize him?
Last of Us Part 2 for recap. Oh, okay.
Maybe someone else
And then my day
killed
went
these
down a
guys.
little bit.
The infected just wandered in.
If you haven't heard this, there's a digital hindsight I do on it where my criteria of if a game is good or not is very simple. I have what I call the 3 Fs. You'll hear me say this multiple times. Is the game either fun, fascinating, or fulfilling? It just has to be one of those 3 in order for me to say like, oh, okay, the game was good in my book. Am I having fun with this game? Can I say overall, you don't have to be having fun 100% of the time, but can I say I'm having fun with this game? Is this game fascinating? Do I find myself thinking about it? Am I thinking about it when I'm not playing it? Can I discuss this and feel interested in talking more about it? Is this fascinating? Is this interesting enough? Are they doing something interesting that's discussion worthy? And lastly, is this game fulfilling? Do I feel like this game was worth it?
Hey, found their gas.
Do I feel like
Need any more?
the journey, like do I feel like a
Get
better
it.
person for doing it? Or do I feel like the quality of what I'm doing was worth my time? Do I feel any of those 3 things? If the answer is yes, it doesn't have to be all 3, but it just needs to be one of those 3, then it was a good game. That's my criteria. My criteria for a review is a lot different. I talk about things like, aesthetics, if you choose a combat system, criticizing combat system, use of environments, writing, story, music, that sort of stuff. But if you ask me, was a game good? That is my criteria. It's those 3 Fs. That's my compass. Some people are like, that's not the criteria I go by. I mean, that's cool. I don't give a shit. I just told you what I think about games. You can have your own criteria. That's cool. You don't have to have my criteria. It's okay. I'm not saying that's a universal standard. I'm just saying that's what goes on in my head. Pills here. Every time I see resources that I can't use, I kind of want to make something so I can use it. Yes, I can. I'm so glad that you bring that up. Can I think of something that was fulfilling but not fun? Yes, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is a game that is not fun. However, for some hypnotic reason, doing those very menial tasks and organizing things and making your house or your town or your island in this case look just the way you want has an odd sense of satisfaction. Yet what you're actually doing is not very is not very fun. Let's be real. All right. I'm quickly skimming this to see if there's anything related to the story in any of this. I believe this is attempting to flesh out the world in terms of what this group is doing to fight Fedra. And it's just kind of reinforcing that. Hold on, let me take a drink of water. Giving my biased, subjective opinions about games tends to dry out my throat. Yeah, it's like walking simulators. What you're doing is not fundamentally interesting. However, it can be very fascinating, or it can be very fulfilling. You're like, you know what, that was an incredibly boring journey I took. But at the same time, I'm very glad that I did it. I feel like I accomplished something, or I learned something more about myself. And it was like doing dailies in an MMO. Dailies are hardly what you would call fun anymore. You're past the point of it being fun because it's not new. It's repetitive and it's boring. However, you do it because the rewards are worth it. Therefore, it is fulfilling. You do it because it's going to make you a better person after you do it, probably. It's going to give you that slight little suckling of XP, or that slight little suckling of maybe a little bit more resources, or a better character, or something. You tell yourself that, and that's why you do it. I sure hope this guy doesn't come alive and scare me. Ooga booga booga.
What the fuck happened here?
Tommy did this.
Oh.
This? No way.
That was definitely him. He's one of the ones that killed Joel.
Tommy has really good memory then, because they kicked him straight in the face the moment that they walked in there.
There's another one over
So
here.
Tommy is really good at assessing a room and memorizing faces. You gotta get props to Tommy. That he knew and remembered, burned in his mind, the faces of the people that were in that room. There was like, what? 6 people there? Not including Abby?
I don't recognize him.
That's the gate code we need, 7302.
He was using them against each other.
How?
Joel told me about this. You ask
It's
this
where
guy
you
a
ask this
question,
guy a question, and if you
You
don't,
don't make him say it,
or,
you can write it down.
yeah, and then you ask the other guy the same question.
You ask this guy,
And it has to be the same answer, otherwise you kill both of them.
I'm telling the truth.
And you kill him anyway.
If not,
You fuck him up?
yeah.
Yep.
East 1. Another gate code?
Looks like it.
That's so weird. He wrote the word Leon. I don't understand it. I don't know what this could mean.
This just happened now. He can't be far off.
Yeah.
Oh, Derpface. I just looked over and said, ever played God Hand? Oh my god. Dude.
Maybe catch up with Tom.
God Hand, in my book, is the best style-based brawler ever made. It is better than Bayonetta 2. It is better than Devil May Cry Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition. It is the best brawler beat 'em up. Alright, so do we take the hammer or do we take the pipe? The pipe has one more durability, so I'm taking the pipe. It's like, man, if only I had a giant backpack to store a hammer in, you know? If only. But whatever. Hey, Dina, can you hold on to this hammer for me since you don't have a melee weapon? And that would be a natural sort of engagement with this world to tangibly give my ally the ability to store a melee weapon that they're not currently using. Oh man, wouldn't that be cool? Engagement. She can store a whole canister of gasoline, cannot store one hammer. Game logic. Okay, we're outside. I was like, man, I hope no Zambos come out and scare me.
I know you said Tommy had a rough past, but fuck.
I could write an entire... I would not do just a recap. I would love to do just a video saying why I feel, or why God Hand is my favorite brawler beat 'em up ever made. Ever made.
I'd do worse.
There are many reasons why its systems, its implementation, its execution is fantastic. Just the best. And nothing has topped that since it came out.
You get the generator. I'll open the
God Hand is
Remember the code?
literally the definition of top tier beat 'em up.
Yeah.
The actual definition. Oops. So yeah, thank you for bringing up Amazing Game. That is +1 awesome. People probably wouldn't watch a video of me gushing about why I love a game, but hell, that's never stopped me from making whatever the hell I want. It's my channel. You think anyone asked me to play this game? Hell no. I was gonna play it anyway because I'm curious. Because here's the thing that I do. If you're new to watching me streaming, which I feel a lot of you are, because it's the first time I'm streaming to the YouTube audience as well as a Twitch audience. Which, by the way, I love you, Twitch audience. Please don't go away. You know, simulcasting to the YouTube audience as well.
Whatever.
I still have some of those almond things left if you're hungry.
I typically play any game that I suspect is going to be on the Game of the Year list.
Oh my god.
What?
I sounded like my mom just now.
I'll be fine.
I primarily do it so that way when I argue with other people about what I feel Game of the Year is, nobody can ever attack me with, well, you didn't play this game, so you don't know. Haha, take that. Like when Sekiro won, and I'm like, Sekiro should not have won Game of the Year. And like, did you beat the game? I'm like, bitch, I platinumed the game. Yes. I 100% completed that game. Here is the platinum showing it. I 100% owned that game. And I think that game is terrible. No, red shirt.
Get the other! Don't lose her! Go!
Oh, the game wants me to do something. I hope he doesn't step on my hand and kick my gun away. Engagement.
Didn't think I'd ever see you again.
Alright, so there's Scarface Man. And we have Owen, We have his pregnant wife, and we have
How'd
Abby.
you find us?
I asked about a dude with a bitch scar across his face.
It's funny. How many came with you? Hmm? Just you two?
You can't stop this.
Jordan! You're supposed to be out looking for the other one. What the fuck is this?
You know the smuggler that we killed out in Jackson?
Yeah.
This girl was there.
What?
They're coming after us. That's why Nick was fucked up like that.
Yeah, that's my name.
We gotta get her to Isaac. We gotta tell him exactly what's going on.
Yeah, well, I just got off the radio with Isaac. And we got a new mandate. Kill all trespassers.
Oh, hold up. That doesn't make any sense.
Direct order, man.
No, let's talk to her. Let's figure out what she knows.
I don't give a fuck what she knows. You saw what she did to the others?
You have
Yeah,
no
the
idea
dude
how many
has a
people
point.
she might be with. This might be an
I
ambush,
don't care
Mike.
how many people she's with. We will
Swanky,
find them.
welcome to the
Can
stream.
you
Thank you
just
so much
think
for coming by and
yourself
watching.
for a quick second right
Fuck
now?
out of
Get
my
him.
way.
Ooh, that's a rough fall.
Come here.
Oh, so Owen's just straight up dead now. Okay. Well. How come this dude isn't killing Dina? He's just kind of slightly harassing her. Oh, was that Mike? That wasn't Owen? Oh, you know what? You're right. I wasn't paying attention to them. No, he said Isaac. Didn't he? Or no, this guy's name is Isaac. I can't keep track of their names. I'm bad with names and faces, even in real life.
Are you okay? Mostly. Ellie. We should go.
Alright, well,
Somebody
we
would've
dropped
heard the gunshots.
2 of the dudes that were in that room now.
She's one of them. Come on. Look at that later. Was there a TV station on that map? I don't fucking know.
Isaac's the leader. This was Jordan. Alright, thank you.
Go around.
Oh, we have music now, by the way. Did you notice that?
I got him covered.
Ow, wow, their aiming is really good in this one. They don't give you a chance. Shit, they whack a wolf really strong. I don't know why I swung wildly at that. Alright, so
How many guys did you see?
here's the thing I'm noticing about their AI. If you move when they're not looking, they have object permanence where they think you're exactly where you used to be. Kind of like those Tom Clancy games where like you would see the ghost after shadow of yourself. I think that's what they're looking at. We're going to experiment with that. I think that's what the AI is doing, is like it just kind of thinks you're there at your last known location and they just will constantly pop there. I keep pressing X when I mean to be pressing triangle. But yeah, Swanky, thank you so much for your kind words. I always appreciate, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't appreciate anybody that enjoyed my recaps, because I do appreciate you. And I love hearing how it helps people. To me, that's the stuff that honestly keeps me going. Positive vibes are 100% the biggest supplement you can get. There is an editorial that I'm writing right now. I don't want to talk too much about it because I want it to help impact people that it's going to help the most. but it's written from the perspective of, hey, I'm not a big name, cool ass famous YouTuber. However, this is the stuff that I learned.
Clear the rooms.
And this is the stuff that I feel that if you're trying to get started, either making a project, writing a book, or even making videos, here's the mistakes that I made, here's the stuff that I learned, and here's the tips that I give you now.
Right over here.
Oh, whoops.
God damn it! Got her.
Nice. Good one.
Peter down.
Can I, like, not use my melee weapon? Can I just use my switchblade and cut them? Like, do I have to use my melee weapon? I think I have to use my melee weapon.
There.
Ow, shit.
Take her down.
Ow. Ow. Dina, get out of the way. Dina, get out of the way. Shit.
Like that?
We're coming for you.
See, I wanted to do that.
Straight ahead.
Alright.
You're dead. You hear me? You're fucking dead.
I keep pressing, like, what I think is the reload button, and it's the melee button. Like, I have to get used to
Better
this.
start running.
Last of Us does not do that. Dina, distract him. Dina, distract him. You're right there.
Nice try.
Man, that was sloppy on my part.
Good?
That was very
Yeah.
sloppy.
You recognize any of these
I
guys?
keep whipping out my melee weapon,
No.
though, and it's kind of bad. I'm getting confused in my controls. They do have that same Naughty Dog style of all the enemies have perfect aim and no ammo on them. Because here's the thing, like, you have to hold a shoulder button to run, and to reload you have to press a trigger button. I'm like, that's so unintuitive. So unintuitive. I know you can actually remap the controller to be whatever you want, but at that same time, I'm like, well, I kind of already started the game with this control scheme. I should probably stay with this control scheme. Otherwise, I'm just going to get confused. Anyway, that was sloppy on my end. There's still music going on, so I don't think we're in the clear. Unless... No, Dina's standing up. We're clear. I don't know. I keep hearing music, though. She has her weapon out, so I think there's still dudes around. I think what Neil Druckmann was trying to say is that I didn't want to make a fun game. What I wanted to make was an engaging game. And by engaging, the method of engagement he wants is, I don't want to have more puzzles. I don't even want to have more combat. And I certainly don't want to give players choice. Why can't you all just engage by sitting down, shutting up, and watching the slightly interactive movie I made for all of you? Because I'm a movie director now. Engagement. Yeah, I know. How I got to be a mid-tier YouTuber, and how you can too. For just 3 easy payments of $79.99, you too can learn everything I learned to become a moderately degenerate YouTuber and guy on YouTube.
I don't know. Search the courtyard. You, hold the cafeteria. I'll cover here.
Right.
Alright, so here's the question now. Can living dudes hear as well as infected? Alright, so the answer is no. You can fast sneak on them. Alright, so there's a guy in the hallway, right? Yeah, he's right over there. There's a guy over there. I should just throw a brick at them. I forgot that I had a brick this entire time. I could have just thrown a brick. But yeah, this is progressing dangerously closer to the look but don't touch method of gameplay.
Spread out.
Alright, I need to go to the dude in the hallway first. I do not like putting my back to an enemy. Where is he? Oh, he's over there. Oh, shit, we got flanked. Damn it, Dina. Good one job.
To your left! That's way!
You're fucking next!
Oh, jeez. Where did all these dudes come from? For real. Man, when did I get surrounded?
Fuck, there's a lot of them. I told you.
No, you didn't actually. You didn't tell me that there were that many people. I was literally thinking there were 3 people in this room. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. Got nobody to blame but myself on that one. Oh, so now we're cool to stand up then. Game's like, I'll teach you to shit talk about my AI. Alright, alright. Breaks glass with a bottle, but the bottle doesn't break. Swanky, it's funny that you mentioned that about doing Persona, because Persona is actually the very next recapitation that I was working on until I decided to stop and play this game. I'm still technically working on it. However, you won't be seeing me playing that because it's on a PSP. I'm playing the enhanced version of it because it's quite frankly better. Since we have so much ammo on this gun, apparently, since we can only carry 12 shots, why can we only carry 12 shots? I don't know. Ellie just is like, you know what, I see bullets for this gun. I do have a backpack. I could just pick it up, but you know what? what would actually be more immersive would be leaving it here, so that way the next person who comes and raids this allegedly abandoned base can actually find something out and somehow unclaimed in this deserted post-apocalypse environment. I want them to have the same level of engagement I enjoyed. And so, for contextual reasons, I will not be picking up any extra bullets. Everyone's like, damn, that's some good writing. I am curious, once I'm done with this, when I'm done with this game, the first thing I'm going to do is actually start looking at other people's reviews about this game, and I'm very curious to see how their perspective matches up with my own. Very curious. If any of you know any very passionate people that are very articulate and can explain their points well, but also hate this game, I would like to hear that, because for every review in which I hear somebody love this game, I would like to listen to a review where somebody absolutely hates this game. Crap, what happened? Oh, can't connect. Damn it. Internet, stop failing on me. Alright, hold on, pause, don't look at my screen. Okay, we're back. Huh. How embarrassing. You guys got to see my awesome Legend of Zelda background wallpaper for the PlayStation. Yeah, see, I don't want to watch a video where it's just a dude in front of a camera. Oops.
Get down.
Just complaining and bitching about everything he hates. Oh shit.
Hey, you two! Press top of the gun.
Don't. What?
Hey, it's them! Right here! Let them go!
Honestly, that's what I should have done the first time.
I think that's all of them.
Let's not find out.
God, it's just so unintuitive to use shoulder button or trigger to reload a weapon. It is so unintuitive. Well, what can I say about the gameplay? I'm just going to say how it is. The primary engagement of this game through its gameplay is going to be pseudo-stealth. Enemies have access to this, these abilities. The environments are wider, so there are more elements with which one can sneak around, go under things, or perhaps engage the enemy. But given the simplistic AI, sometimes a straightforward approach might be best. And maybe I'll even show a clip of me doing that exact thing where it's like, I could sneak around these three, or I can just grab this person, use them as a human shield, and headshot the other two. Some people are hypersensitive to a spoiler, but to me, if you're hypersensitive to a spoiler, why the hell are you watching a review to begin with? To me, if you watch a review, it's pussyfooting around the issue to say, oh, I want a spoiler-free review. No, you can't know everything about a game and then claim that it's spoiler-free. Alright? That means either the review is incomplete, because you're clearly not talking about everything, because it would quote-unquote be a spoiler, or if you're talking about everything, you can't then circumnavigate or determine the arbitrary line of what someone does or does not consider a spoiler, because you're not going to make everyone happy. So pick one. Every now and then I get somebody who is sassy on the recapitation, and they say, hey, you should put spoilers on this thing. I'm like, oh my god. Do you not notice the part where it says, hey, we're going to talk about the entire story here. What part of the entire story did you not understand? Or I summarized the entire story. Then you get the other person where, this one's kind of funny. There's less of it these days. But when I was kind of getting started, people would just be like, hey, I think you misspelled recapitulation. I'm like, no, I did not misspell the made-up portmanteau word that I made up to describe the new show that I'm doing. So, thank you. Thank you for assuming that I'm an idiot. And you're so clever. Appreciate that. I guess I should have been using a stun bomb, shouldn't I? Next crowd of enemies we get across that we don't just immediately murder, we'll try making a stun bomb. Oh, we actually have enough stuff to make an improved melee weapon. Restores a melee weapon to full durability and increases its damage. So when we get a melee weapon, we should use it a little bit. See, if only I had that hammer. Use it a little bit and then restore it / upgrade it. Get some mileage out of it that way. Yeah, it's like I said before, Swanky. If learning a story upsets you and there's nothing else about the game that interests you, then is that really a good game that's worth your time? That's why when the story leaks came out and some people are like, well, I'm not playing the game because I know what the story twist is. Well, that's just saying that you openly admit that the rest of the game is literally a trash and there's no reason to play it except for the story twist. And now that you know it, there's literally no reason. Isn't that underselling the game just a little bit? Surely there's something fun and interesting to be had in this game. I'm being optimistic. I actually don't know because I don't think we've encountered it yet. Have we hit the fun part of the game yet? I know Neil Druckmann said this game is not supposed to be fun, but I don't know. Seems kind of weird to me.
Let's try it.
Maybe I can have fun making fun of the game. There's that. Boo, I'm still gonna bring out that damn hammer. Any theory on why this has a 95 Metacritic score? I didn't even know it had a 95 Metacritic score. That's news to me.
Come on. We gotta get away from this school. Now.
There has to be a way down to the street somewhere.
I'm so mad. Look at my mad face. I'm so mad. Ugh. So mad. .95 Metacritic score and a 3.8 user. Now, it could just be review bombing. There is that big I think there are a lot of people ready to review bomb literally anything you put out there. I don't know if it's justified or not. Again, we haven't played the game, so I don't know if it's justified or not. And justice in this case is an individual term. For every person, there's a definition of justice. There's 1,000 justices out there.
I got it.
I think the jumps are stress-inducing, not because the actual jumps seem perilous, but because the jump function just seems so anemic. Yeah, we will play this game in its entirety, and then when it's done, we will, by virtue of having our own assessment properly of the game, we will understand and have a more open field, an ability to accurately think for ourselves and not let the opinions and emotions of others sway our biases. General life advice: it's never a good idea to let somebody do all the thinking for you, especially when it comes to consumerism. Like, if you're going to spend hard-earned money on a game that's demanding time, which is, in my opinion, more valuable than money, because you certainly have a finite amount of time in this world, and no money can buy that. If something's going to demand time from you, then yes, you shouldn't just listen to anybody that says, oh, it's completely worth your time. And you should express a little bit of doubt when somebody says, no, it's completely a waste of your time, because you should make that judgment for yourself. You should listen to what both sides have to say and make a decision for yourself.
We need to get to the street.
Man, this world plays the world's best console, which is the PlayStation 3. And because the PlayStation 3 had terrible battery life for its controllers, they rightfully kept the USBs plugged in at all times and must have played them right here. Or they had board games. Dude, what's the secret? Oh, it's my favorite. World Clash. Am I going to do a recapitulation video of this game, Roberto? Most likely. In fact, the answer is yes. I'm breaking my soft rule of waiting a 6-month cooldown time on a game, because this is a game that has curiously attracted my attention. I think there is an unusual demand for people wanting to know what happened in this game, and yet are indecisive about whether they want to buy it or not. And I'm like, I can fill that void with a unique format that I have. So allow me, dear viewers, to take but less than 20 minutes of your time to tell you everything you need to know about The Last of Us Part 2. This person paints Warhammer figurines. I can get behind that. Dude, look at it. That's literally a Space Marine from Warhammer 40k. Space Wolves, baby. But yeah. To be fair, I haven't, this is the first time we're doing it, because normally I would just play this game on my own, and I would just surprise you guys by putting out a video of The Last of Us Part 2. But I decided, hey, let's make this more of an interactive event. How about I let people look at my review process and watch me play the game, like any other stream, but then also discuss what I'm observing as a game, observing as a story, and then writing down what's relevant as I form the skeleton script for this.
Read the letter. Jordan. Isaac's got us posted up on a 2-week at the TV station. Scars spotted in the area. Here's something to hold you over, Leah.
TV station.
You think she's still there?
We'll probably play for about 10 more minutes and then we'll call it a night. So that way I can go to sleep, you fine folks can get some rest, and
Let's buy all these
I'm going to treat my dad to some good breakfast tomorrow. Happy Father's Day,
that way.
depending on where you are in the world. And tomorrow will actually be my normal streaming schedule, and you know what, we'll play more of this.
Go get Leah.
I have to say though, I am genuinely concerned that I'm like, man, I sure hope some actual story starts happening, because this is going to be a damn short recap at the pace with which we're actually accumulating story here. We're doing stuff, but not actually doing anything story related. Let's see if I can say actually a few more times.
You good? Yeah. I thought I was fucked back there. Thanks for the save, by the way.
Of course.
You know I got your back. You know that when I go crouched, I'm invisible to enemies.
So, those are the wolves. They're really armed.
Yeah, they are. Do you think there were gonna be this many of them?
Tommy said this was a possibility.
Does that change anything for you?
No?
Whoa, did you see that poppin' just there? Ooh, what's happening with this branch?
Trolls. There were a bunch trying to smoke me out around
This
here.
branch is like phasing in and out of
How many?
existence.
I
Did you see
passed
that?
two,
It
but
appeared and then it
I don't think
disappeared.
anymore.
What?
Once they realize we're out of the school,
And then we killed their fucking friends.
they'll be
That-
out in force.
that was
looking for
weird.
us.
I almost want to make fun of that. If I should be like, there's very unusual pop-ins at time.
I can't believe they just
Upon
attacked
closer
me.
examination.
These people are not like us.
What if we'd been
Let me make a
refugees?
slight note
What if
here.
we, I don't know,
Have a
had
timestamp.
intel they needed?
It doesn't seem like they care about that.
Okay. You know, people confuse gameplay with story. Like, what are you talking about? This game has an amazing story. Really? Because if I tell you just the story, I want you to look me in the eye and tell me that was an amazing story. Because here's what I see so far. We've been playing this game for 5 hours. And what we have is a transitional effect for one character to start her quest, Web of Renge, Ellie. We have a semi-fleshed out character who we're introduced to at a surface level, Dina. And then we have a character who's stringing purportedly as the antagonist, Abby, who we know almost nothing about other than her main motivation, which has already been quenched, which is find and kill Joel. Still waiting for the actual story to get started and happen. A lot of grass, though. Can I stand in that gross water? Yep. I want to see how fast it takes for her jacket to get dry.
Something keeps bugging me.
Yeah, a lot of grass though. Yeah, put that on the back of the box. Pay me money to use that quote,
I
please.
don't know.
That way I'll know I made it big. Or they were horribly desperate.
Maybe.
Oni Black Mage.
What?
Could be that you just
Sometimes you stab a
aren't who
dude.
they were looking for.
Lots of grass though.
So they let you go.
Yeah, well, they did beat the shit out of us. The one guy, Jordan, kicked my face in.
Yeah, but why do you think that they didn't finish
It
the...
doesn't matter. They fucked up.
It does matter. Because the guy who spared you,
Hey,
you
check this out.
straight up murdered. Ironically.
Seattle traded one shitty ruler for another.
How old do you think this is?
At least a few years. They probably put it up right after everything went down with the military. Must have been scary.
Yeah, I
for
will
all
say
these
that
people.
to its defense, at least in every chapter of The Last of Us,
Fedra,
with the exception of
wolves.
the Bandit
Remember
chapter,
how many stuck around and joined these?
there was one
dumb
section there I want to
motherfuckers?
cut. I felt the part with Henry and Sam wasn't necessary. You could cut that entire part out of the story. Nothing was changed. They added nothing to the
What was the
story.
name of the girl?
I just wrote it down, and because the script was already so short is the only reason I didn't cut it out. I otherwise, for relevance, would have cut it out. Because that ultimately, you know, when you really think about it, didn't add anything to the story. They were introduced. I think I kind of left it in because I'm like, well, it shows that Joel is willing to accept people in a relatively short amount of time, which shows he's softening up.
Go from there.
Which, by the way, could contribute to what got him killed. Because if anybody argues, oh, Joel wouldn't be that trusting and help a person the moment he saw them, well, he did with Sam.
Jogging memories of stuff Joel said about
He met those dudes and literally overnight, like, they're bros.
What are the chances he did stuff that you don't know
So
about?
it's very clear that he softened his hard-hearted approach towards most of the world.
Big on sharing.
And I'm sure after 4 years' time and being acclimated to the community where he's much more accepted and a valued member, that he probably is more trusting of other people. I don't think that's outside of his character. His character was already shown to have been softened in the middle of the last game. So it's not outside the wheelhouse to say that Joel is more forgiving of people. We haven't encountered a workbench yet, have we? Ever since the very first one. Come to think of it. Have we just been missing them? Because we're not exploring this fully fleshed out, vibrant, engaging world?
What are you doing with that?
It's stuck.
You want a hand?
No.
Yeah, you're right. They were definitely distracted by the amount of grass. Am I supposed to just put it line up to this window? I guess I am. I wanted to bring it out there, but... Actually... Yeah, I'm probably not even allowed to go up there, am I? Actually, let's find out. Let's find out if the game lets me go up there. No, the game does not. Yeah, also... Like, he didn't trust Abby so much as he saw an opportunity to get out of the otherwise bad situation he knew they were in. Because Tommy wanted to hole up there, and Abby's like, no, I have a place. It's secure. I have people there. And Joel confirmed that by saying, oh, I know it. It's the, whatever, the Baldwin place. I can't remember what he called it. It was something like that. Yeah, I totally know it, like the Spencer Mansion. We'll go there. And so he was actually for it. He helped... reinforce that decision, so he was familiar with that location, interestingly enough. So he kind of had to make a decision that was literally, I can die here for sure, or I can take my chances. And he decided to take his chances. So it wasn't so much trust, because he didn't really have that many options. He literally had, okay, here's another option. That has a low chance of success versus no chance of success. So to say he trusted her is also a bit of a stretch. Trust was not part of the equation. That's why the note that I put for the script will be making the decision quickly. Joel and Tommy chose to follow Abby with their suggestion of going to blah blah blah. Because the context of that decision was they were in a high-pressure situation, under duress, they had to make a choice. Look, a guitar. You just fix that up. Man, everybody's into Warhammer here. Look at all these people into Warhammer. I mean, this is a college, I guess. But dude, Warhammer's an expensive game. I really don't see that many college kids playing it. If remotely.
Fuck is this? Some kind of bomb?
Ooh, trap mine.
Nice craftsmanship.
That is cool, actually. I do like a good proximity mine. But yeah, the gameplay rhythm so far is sometimes you sneak and stab dudes, sometimes you sneak and stab infected dudes, and every other building you are once again devolving into the same formula of quickly going around the perimeter because you know it's a safe environment for the most part, and just looking around for anything that you can press triangle on. And the background truly does become background.
Was it worth it?
Yeah. Pretty good haul.
Dina was like, I knew there was nobody up there with my sixth sense. That's why I didn't actually accompany you. Even though, Dina, please, I need you to move. Thank you. That's the reason why she didn't actually accompany you. Even though contextually, she should be having your back always. She should be like, I'll just trust that Ellie's fine going up there by herself. It's fine. I already know there's nobody there with my own X-ray
Let's
vision.
see.
I was hoping to reach a stopping point, but I think this is as good a stopping point as any, because that looks like it's a compound full of dudes. Man, I don't feel like we accomplished very much. So here's the deal. Here's the deal right now. I wrote 3 sentences this entire session. It's been 4 hours, and I wrote 3 sentences for actual story relevant with progress that we made. Man, are you kidding me with this? This is so sparse in terms of actual story. This is not a comment on the gameplay, mind you. Gameplay. I'm using this in air quotes because this is engagement. But I've spent... Yeah, I am streaming tomorrow, Dark. The usual time. And if you guys want to know what the usual time is, on Sundays and Tuesdays, that's actually when I normally stream in general. And I guess I'm going to keep simulcasting to YouTube because... I love all you guys. It's good stuff. And, yeah, I know. One of those quotes was, Joel actually dies after lunch. Actually, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Lucian, you know that painting Warhammer 40k figures is expensive. Because you have to get, like, licensed paint. That's current year competitive, and that's, like, ridiculous. But, yeah. Tomorrow at... I don't know what time zone you're at, so figure it out for yourself, but I'm Central Time Zone, and starting up at 8 is when I'll be probably picking up. Now, it depends. I don't think I have any special Father's Day stuff planned. I think we're just going to do big breakfast for my dad and call it a day. But after I do some family stuff tomorrow, I might go in early, maybe get a few hours here, a few hours there, but definitely in the afternoon we'll be playing some Last of Us, so... We'll see what we do. Alright. That'll fill it out for tonight, then. Thank you so much for joining. Prince Darian, how's it going? I will be, of course, stopping this, uploading it to OBM Plays, the side channel. Please go check it out if you want to catch any of the rest of this playthrough. /recap. Yeah, we'll just pick it up tomorrow. It is absolutely a slow burner. A lot slower than I thought it was going to be. We haven't even had an action set piece. I almost feel like they kind of threw that away. I'm trying to think, have we had an action set piece? Well, yeah, we did have one. We had Abby running away from the infected. That was our action set piece we had, and that was 3 hours ago. All right. Thank you so much for watching. We'll pick this up tomorrow with more Last of Us Part 2. And yeah. See you on the next Battlefield. Thanks for watching. Yes, I'm also on Twitch right now. Twitch.tv/OniBlackMage if you guys want to give me a follow.